sync up and start the GarageBand. Man, it's been a while since we've done this.
I know. So we'll start recording in GarageBand on the count of 3, okay?
Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And now you want to hold up your headphones so I can do my hibba haba?
Yeah, do your syncy sync.
Hibba haba, hibba haba, hoobada hoobada habba hoo, yabba dibba dibba, hitchidurga.
Awesome.
That's what I got for you, bud.
Yeah! Yeah! I think I could hear a little bit of feedback of me when I scream through your shit.
I'll believe it.
So yeah, whenever you wanna start this shit, get
Okay.
the fuck. No one's watching, so might as well just be, we might as well just be talking in my basement.
Sounds good. All right.
It is 10:30 on a Sunday, the week after Christmas.
And it is
Not
what
gonna
it
get
is.
a lot of viewers. Yeah.
Hey, good morning, friends, pals, buddies, chums. It's the Boy Howdy Podcast. That's right, it's the time when we talk to y'all about some pop culture detritus, and it is me, Annie, speaking to you now. Also speaking to you is Mr. Mudgeon, Bill Mudgeon.
What the hell is Carol Price of Salt?
Why, it's something that we'll talk about during the podcast, isn't
I'm
it?
already jumping ahead, so at the end of the podcast, we're going to do a little retrospective of our favorite things that we, games, movies, and TV shows that we liked in 2014, and then we're just going to look ahead to the same stuff that we're looking forward to in 2015. And, just looking at Annie's notes, and there's a couple things, and we're like, what is that?
You zeroed in on the one thing that I think we don't share, the one thing I actually have something interesting to talk about.
Yeah, well, that'll be an interesting conversation to talk about later.
So, Bill, in the
I'm not
meanwhile,
complaining.
let's talk about the week that
It's just funny
was.
when you say one of my most anticipated things of next year is a person's name. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, what's up? What'd you do?
What were you up to this week, my friend?
Yeah, I finally set Into the Woods yesterday.
Yeah, so here's
Man.
Bill's background. Bill Into the Woods. Bill really likes Into the Woods.
I am not a musical person, but I really do like Into the Woods. Into the Woods is probably my favorite movie. No, well, it's never really been a movie before. It's always been a stage play, but I guess this is the first movie adaptation of Into the Woods. It's a Stephen Sondheim joint. And up until now, the only version that's been available on video was just like a 1991 recording of the original Broadway cast, like Bernadette Peters and stuff. And that's the version I've always been familiar with.
Yeah.
And I love that I have no idea why I fucking love that play so much. The first time I showed it to Dylan, after we were done watching it, she turns to me and she's like, I know why you like that so much. It's about finally growing up and learning how to take responsibility for your own bullshit. And I was like, yeah, I guess maybe that's why I like it so much, because I am an irresponsible motherfucker. So I finally saw the movie yesterday because I was dreading going to see it because, like I said, I like the original stage play so much.
Yeah.
And it was actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt was, oh my god. Between that and Edge of Tomorrow.
That sounds like damning with faint praise, but I know that with the high estimation you have of that show, that's
especially
good.
She's essentially almost, she's one of the two main characters. It's her and her husband are the two main characters of the story. And even in the original stage play, the lady who played her, I think it was Joanna Gleason, the lady's name is. That original lady who originated that role on the original Broadway show was super fucking awesome. So Emily Blunt had a lot to live up to just performance-wise because she has to do a lot of singing in that thing. And she's actually a pretty good singer. I've seen some reviews slagging on her, and I was like, she's good, and she's funny, and she actually brings a lot of warmth and humanity to the show. She's one of the best. Her performance is one of the best things in the movie.
Yeah.
She's one of the few characters in the movie version that actually kind of feels like an actual human being and not just like, I'm a character who's singing all the time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was pretty good. The big problem with Into the Woods is that I think the original stage play is about 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And so they had to squeeze this down into a 2-hour movie. And the weird thing is the format of Into the Woods, it's 2 acts. And the first act is all about these characters, all these fantasy characters. It's like Cinderella and Jack and the Beanstalk and this Wicked Witch and this baker and his wife. They all live in this little fantasy, children's book land of legend. And they all have these different wishes and stuff. They're all these wish fulfillment things. And so the first act of the play is just about them going off into the woods and trying to fulfill these own wishes, these wishes that you have. Emily Blunt's character and her husband, who is played by the fat guy on Doctor Who had a baby.
Yeah.
You remember this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Was it James Corden or something like that? They want to have a kid, and they find out from their next-door neighbor, who happens to be a witch, that the witch placed a curse on them, so they can't have a kid. And so in order to reverse this curse, they have to go to the woods and collect these ingredients for this potion that the witch can use to lift the curse. And so and there's all these other characters have different reasons for going into the woods to do this kind of stuff. But by the end of the first act, everyone has succeeded in their thing. Like the baker and his wife, played by Emily Blunt and what's his face, they have their kid, and everything kind of ends like what you would expect. And suddenly the second act starts, and all that shit gets fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
The whole second act of Into the Woods is about the repercussions of everything everyone had to do in the first act in order to fulfill their life dreams.
Yeah.
All that shit comes back to haunt them, and everyone starts getting all fucked up. Half the cast dies in the second half of the movie. Everything, it just goes to hell. And I really do think that they should have probably cut the whole second act and just made the movie the first act. It would have been fit into more into audience expectations, because looking on online reviews from people who have seen the movie, not like professional reviews, but just like reviews on Amazon and stuff, a lot of people were like, I really like this movie, but the second half was so weird.
Yeah.
And pacing-wise, it's really weird, because the first act of the original stage play, there's a lot of weird like repetition stuff. It takes place over the course of 3 nights while these characters are running around in the woods. And each of the 3 nights, they kind of keep on repeating a lot of it, like reprising the same songs, but with like under slightly different circumstances and stuff like that. Which is fine when you've got the original stage play has 3 hours to kind of nestle that stuff into. When you squeeze everything down to that act is essentially 1 hour in the movie. The 3 nights where like there's all these reprisals of songs and melodies and stuff. It just gets really repetitive.
Yeah, reprisals can work on stage because it's all on stage. It's all one contiguous moment.
Yeah,
like for all of the dimming lights and everything like that, it's all in one context. There are no scene breaks. There are no like it all feels of a piece in a way that you can't replicate in film.
And the reprising songs and stuff and kind of repeating things and kind of playing off of things kind of being repeated over and over again, that's kind of a theatrical affectation, which when you've got a movie that's that is being presented as this more grounded, realistic thing, it seems more just like, why are they singing the same song again? And it sounds like the same song, and why is this being so repetitive? Why are we essentially watching the same scene 3 times in a row?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it is that expectation of it being grounded and real.
Yeah.
The other part of that is that they're riffing on kind of storytelling and fairy tale structure a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of half the point of Into the Woods. And there's it being Stephen Sondheim, there's a lot of kind of like riffing on theatricality in of itself. Yeah. And that doesn't really translate to a movie and specifically this movie is trying to be more grounded. It's not trying to be it's not like the theatrical farce that even the actual stage play is going to be. And the other thing too, because they took a 3-hour play and condensed it into 2 hours, they actually kept most of the songs. They only cut like 2 songs. But in order to squeeze everything down into 2 hours, they took out most of the talking. And so there's already a lot of singing in the original version. If you take out all the talking between the songs, it kind of just turns into an opera.
Yeah.
Which is extra. Like, I saw a lot of people, like, their patience were getting fucking tested in the theater. A lot of people were walking out every time someone started singing again. And just because it was constant singing, at least it sounds ridiculous, but if they'd actually either cut the story in half, or I actually just went ahead and said, fuck it, we're just going to make it a 3-hour movie, the pacing, I think, would have made everything feel a little more naturalistic by kind of squeezing and compacting things down and taking out a lot of the actual scenes where the characters are just talking to each other and actually treating each other like human beings rather than just singing at each other. Yeah. It kind of takes a lot of the humanity out, and everyone just becomes a singing archetype, and it's hard to like get emotionally invested.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't bad. It's just it's weird to say that. If anything, I think they would have done better by actually diverging from the original source material even more. Either, like I said, either cutting the story in half or like actually greatly reconfiguring at least the first half of the story so it's not quite as repetitive and sing-songy and stuff. But it's super pretty. It's filmed mostly outdoors in natural sunlight, so it's got great costumes and cinematography and stuff like that. There's a couple scenes in there though where, because it's kind of presenting itself as this super kind of grounded version of these fairy tales, there's a couple bits, especially there's one scene where Johnny Depp shows up, and it kind of turns into this weird Tim Burton kind of thing, where it seems like the guy directing it went like, oh, it's Johnny Depp, maybe we get a little Tim Burton with this thing, which doesn't kind of feel, it suddenly gets a little too disconnected from reality because it suddenly tried to get theatrical and it's really, and also Johnny Depp, oh my god, he's the fucking worst part of the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
He cannot sing.
Yeah.
And especially all the aesthetics of the whole show is supposed to be like this medieval fantasy kind of thing, but he shows up, he's dressed like a Tex Avery Red Hot Riding Hood wolf.
Yeah.
And it's not the same aesthetic. It's not the same vibe. It's like he's coming in from a whole different movie. Also, his makeup just looks really kind of stupid, and it's like he got his costume and makeup was designed not by anyone else who was related to the movie. It's almost like he had his own people just kind of do his own costuming and thing like that, and he just kind of walked. And it doesn't fit, and his performance is pretty bad. And but no, it was that aside. For like I said, Emily Blunt's pretty awesome. Meryl Streep, she plays the witch. She just is Meryl Streep. I've never seen a movie with Meryl Streep where she just wasn't just Meryl Streep just doing her Meryl Streep thing, which bums me out because it seems like the only awards that this movie is being nominated for, and I guess now is kind of the movie award season, it's all just Meryl Streep stuff. And I'm kind of like, man, she's not that good in the movie. Give Emily Blunt something. Emily Blunt's fucking.
How are Anna Kendrick and Chris Pine?
Anna Kendrick is fucking good. She's super cute. How could she not be cute in that?
She's pretty cute.
She plays Cinderella, and she's constantly being chased throughout the whole movie by Chris Pine. And there's this great... So one of the big show-stopping numbers in the musical is Chris Pine's character. He plays Prince Charming. And his brother, who's also... I guess he's Prince Charming number 2, I guess. They have this whole song about pretty much how much they want to fuck these princesses, including Cinderella. And in the original stage play, it's just them kind of singing kind of like theatrically and kind of machismo-y, but it's kind of funny, but it's... I don't know. I was never a big fan of that musical number on the stage. But the movie is great because you have these guys standing on top of this waterfall at sunset, like literally ripping their own shirts as they're talking about how turned on they are by all these princesses and stuff. It gets into this crazy, like, mocking Fabio, kind of like, I'm so sexy, but I'm also singing about sexy people and stuff. It's fucking hilarious. And Chris Pine is funny because he's in the Star Trek movies. But this is his one opportunity to get all, like, William Shatner about shit, because, like I said, he's, like, tearing at his own clothes and, like, writhing on these rocks and singing this song, and it's just, like, it was fucking hilarious. It was actually one of the things that's better than the stage play.
Yeah.
It was goddamn cute, but, yeah. I don't know if I should ever recommend it to you, because I know, well, you are a musical person. You just have very specific taste. Well, I do, too.
Yeah.
But our
I tend to like...
our tastes don't overlap a lot.
I've been criticized for this, and I accept it as real. I do tend to like more old-school musicals.
Yeah, you do, man. You are an old soul when it comes to musicals.
And it not even only necessarily, like, not even literally old musicals, but, like, more traditional musicals are kind of my jam.
You like, hey, everyone, let's go to the barn and put on a show kind of musical.
See, no, I don't believe in musicals that have shapoopies in them, which is when the movie comes to a stuttering halt for a musical sequence.
You like it if a marriage ends with like 5 weddings.
What? That doesn't make any sense. No, I do tend to like more. I feel like singing is it's like musicals are such kind of a hokey medium to have everything come to a stop so you can sing a song about how you're feeling and the song reflects your real feelings.
Yeah.
There is a degree of earnest, like, total sincerity, lack of irony that like, I feel like is required to just sign up for that premise to begin with.
Yeah.
I tend to like musicals that just go with that, as opposed to being postmodern or self-aware or knowing or like I tend to be like it's kind of like a romance, you know? Yeah. It's like at the end of the day, a romance is about, you know, the flirtation, the pursuit, and the kiss. And, like, that's the core of what a romance is. And anything that riffs on it, you know, I don't know. I'm not.
That's why I could see you would hate The End of the Woods, because at least the first act is playing off a lot. It is kind of ironic and kind of like, not poking fun of musicals, but it is kind of playing with the medium. It's not just straightforward, here's a musical. Mm-hmm. But towards the especially towards the end of it, the second act and everything like that, it gets super fucking earnest and really just open. This is everyone's just hard on their sleeves, man, this is kind of a fucking bummer, but really cool. And that's why I'm always kind of interested to see what your reaction to Into the Woods would be, whether or not it would be the original stage play version that, like I said, that's on iTunes right now or whatever, or this new movie version, but I don't know. Into the Woods is one of those things where it's personal enough to me.
Yeah.
Like whenever I try to recommend it to somebody, it's one of those things you have in your life where it's like you want like a piece of entertainment is kind of like a piece of yourself, your soul that you can be showing to someone else, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
I have had that moment. Like there's some things where it's like you almost don't want to share or talk about them.
Yeah.
Because it's too personal. Yeah. Like there have been some times in my relationship with Foley where. Honestly, there have been, like, moments where it was, like, a weirdly fraught moment because of how she reacted to something that was really important to me and vice versa.
It's like it's like telling someone a secret and you're kind of worried about how they're going to react or something, you know.
It's like I genuinely don't want to hear anyone's opinion on Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Yeah. I really don't. And I know I have some friends who actively dislike that movie, like not even are like whatever on it, actually hate it and think it is bad. Mm-hmm. And I'm genuinely, I don't want to hear about it.
I can completely empathize. Yeah,
this happens all the time on this podcast where I'm like, I don't actually want to talk about, Uncharted or Last of Us. Or I'm like, this is something that was very close to me.
Yeah. You've kind of digested it for yourself, and like, there's there's nothing really to talk about.
It's a tree house, and I've pulled up the wrong ladder, you know.
That's one of the things, because my housemate, she's really into fantasy stuff and like, Grimm and Once Upon a Time and all that stuff. And she was talking about how much she wanted to go see Into the Woods. And I told her, I was like, well, actually, I have the original stage play. I have a DVD. I can show it to you sometime. And then I was like, oh, man, do I want to do that? Because if she doesn't like and starts ripping on it, I just might end up killing everyone in the room. So, I was like, I don't even know if I could even... Some people, I don't even know if I could, like, hang out and watch it with them because I'd be afraid that, like, I just wouldn't watch... Anyway, yeah.
That is the worst part about sharing something with someone that's important to you is when they, instead of actually watching it and giving it their full attention, they just I'm like, oh, is that right, motherfucker? Oh, then go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's one of those moments where you say, here, watch this on your own time, and don't tell me about it.
Yeah, and watch it. I'm going to take away your phone so you actually pay attention to it, not just have it on in the background, because there will be a quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like I said, it was not. I was expecting going in there I was expecting to get shotgunned in the face with sadness, but I actually came out. And there was one scene especially too that one of the songs they did cut out from the musical. No one sings. It got cut out from the movie, but they do have like a little instrumental reprise at the end. And it's one of the most emotional. Actually, you can argue that like that song that they cut is actually kind of like half the point of the movie.
Yeah.
And they cut it out, but it's a super emotional thing about this guy's dad being dead and stuff, and made me super sad. But yeah, it could have been. Yeah, I had a good time. I'm actually glad I went to go see it in the theater, even though, like I said, people kept on walking out of that movie in droves.
Yeah.
as when people started realizing it's a real musical, not even a real musical. When it first started, you could tell people going, "Oh shit, this is a musical," and then more people when they started realizing that like it's gonna be like wall-to-wall fucking singing.
Yeah.
And like I'm just like, yeah, it was pretty rough, but
yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't hate it. Like, really,
that was actually kind of nice.
All you can hope from an adaptation of something that is important to you is that it gives you something new to chew on.
Yeah, and actually, at least, and this gives us an opportunity to kind of like you just said, to turn the tables a little bit, where I should make you watch this sometime, but then we'll never allowed to talk about it again.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like I really feel that way. There are some things that are so close to me. It's like I don't actually want to talk. Like Foley, the worst experience I ever had was when I showed Foley The Man Who Would Be King, and it's even hard for me to articulate why that movie is so important to me. It just really is, and I really love it. And I showed it to her, and she hated it the first time she watched it.
What she hated?
It was not her jam at all.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if there was
here's also the thing. I think she was viewing it in the context of my wife loves this movie. Yeah. And so, you know how there's something, whenever you consume something where your context is, this is beloved by someone beloved to me, you can't help but view it through the lens of them throughout. Yeah. And a lot of times this adds to something. But in that case, the whole time she was going, is this what she likes about it? Is it that? What the hell? The only part you can remember of that whole movie, the first time we saw it, was there is a point where one of them, and I think it's, I can't even remember if it's Michael Caine or Sean Connery, I think it's Michael Caine, is awoken by a woman standing over him, wafting her skirt at him to cool him, but the implication is that the scent of her feminine odors also wakes him. And it was awful. I can remember that whole movie. And I was so hurt.
Man, for that to be something that like you love so much that that's kind of the takeaway Foley gets from it, I could see that just being like kind of heartbreaking a little bit.
Now she loves it, so.
Joe, what'd you do? Just like make her watch it so many times that she's obligated to go, I love this thing as much as you do.
Opposite. The opposite happened. We watched it once. She was weirded out by it. I was so deeply hurt that I never wanted to watch it again until like a year and a half later when I was like, oh, I got the Blu-ray or something. And then Foley wanted to watch it again, and she likes it this time. So, Foley, I'm telling Bill about how you hated and then came around to the man who would be king. Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I mean, like I said, with an adaptation, all you can hope it will never surpass your expectations or your hope of what it could be.
Yeah, the best at most it can do is live up to your expectations. Which is already kind of an unfair bar you're setting against that thing.
Like I said, in a perfect world, an adaptation just gives you something. It gives you a new perspective and something new to chew on. So I'm glad you got that from Influence.
But you could watch. It's not like the Sweeney Todd thing where the Sweeney Todd. I didn't like. I love that musical, and even then, like I thought that was a shitty fucking adaptation. Violence and everything else aside, violence casting, whatever that movie version is. But yeah, I would legitimately be curious to see what your opinion either about this version or the original stage version of Into the Woods would be. So, would you ever watch that someday?
Probably not. I don't.
I
don't tend to like filmed stage performances because I'm too distracted by the bare bones limitations of that and the fact that the costuming and sets for a stage performance are not designed to be caught on film up close.
Especially this is done on video in like 1991 too, so yeah, it doesn't look like super beautiful or anything.
It's like the difference between there's the Pirates of Penzance with Rex Smith and Clevin Klein and everything like that. There's a version of that you can see that was straight up filmed on the stage, like that's from the run that was from. And then there's the movie version, and the movie version is made to look like a stage play, like everything is made to look like sets and everything.
That's weird,
but it's done for film, and that looks very different, very different.
Yeah.
So sometimes as someone from theater, it's too hard for me to watch something that is just straight up. I pointed a camera at a stage for a few hours.
Yeah. See, I keep on thinking like you might watch this someday, just because hey, you're not exactly you were into musicals, and this does star Anna Kendrick and
my point is I'll watch the movie version probably. Yeah. I will never watch the recorded stage version.
I need to make you watch the movie version while I'm in the room, but we're not allowed to talk to each other.
We'll screen it in like a confessional from a Catholic church where there's
like
a
have to be something like that. Well, like I said, the movie version isn't really the same thing. Like the recorded stage version is such a different beast that I think we could hang out and watch the movie. Like I wouldn't be that worried about your opinion of the movie version because, like I said, it's disconnected from the version that I love so much. It's not really that much of a big deal.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. So, but yeah, Emily Blunt, she's so goddamn cute. She's like fucking. She can sing. I don't know how much. I don't know if she was auto-tuned or anything like that. But
I will watch it at some point.
She's man.
Bill, if I may quote my favorite man, Mr. Bill Mudrin. What else?
What else? Oh man, this is going to be useless to the people just listening to the audio version of this podcast. Not that anyone. Oh man, no one's even watching the YouTube version of this. So why am I even showing this? But I built my Lego snowspeeder somebody awesome gave me for Christmas.
How was it, Bill?
It was fucking sweet. This is a nice ass little Lego thing. I mean, it's not much to look at when you're just looking at it over YouTube or something like that. But it was one of those sets where. While building it, I didn't know what the fuck half the pieces were as I was constructing it. Like, I was like, what the? I don't know. I'm putting pieces together. I don't know what this is going to be. And then suddenly I flip it over in my hands and realize, oh, this is the canopy that opens.
Yeah.
Or, the kind of stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that was really goddamn clever.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's kind of like magic in your hands where you're just kind of like sticking things together. It's suddenly like, oh, I reckon that this is going to be like the half of the thing, So, because especially, so Annie for Christmas, what I'm talking about is one of the snow speeders from The Empire Strikes Back. And it was really weird because you think that it would just be one like little construction thing, but no, it's actually 3 different pieces that you put together later.
Interesting.
And so, so when you're kind of constructing the 3 individual parts of the snowspeeder vehicle, you're not quite sure. It's kind of an abstract thing. You don't know what the hell you're doing. But then, I don't know, it's just really cool. And there's like moving flaps on it and like really, really cool stickers. And it shoots lasers that shot me in the chest as soon as I was finished building it.
Man, so... Okay, everybody, here goes the Lego part of our podcast.
Yeah, we should. Oh my God, yeah. And we haven't. Well, yeah.
I also got some Legos and also built some. And man, Lego really amped up their firing mechanisms on some of their stuff. Some of the new
Yeah.
Chima sets, which are where I get my animal parts for
Oh,
Benton.
so you're experienced with this too now?
Oh yeah, well the Benton set had actually a piece that's brand new to Lego this year, so it wasn't even on your set, Bill.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like a 4x1 brick that has like a thing in the middle that can shoot things, and it shoots things at high damn speed.
Yeah, no, it's not. I thought it would be like a little, and like a little thing falls out, but no, this is like.
I love the diagram in the Lego build guide thing, where there's like a little picture of a round kid with like his eye having been poked out
Yeah,
by
I've seen
a
that. Yeah,
projectile.
exactly. Yeah.
So good. But anyway,
Yeah, well, justifiably so. They're not fucking around with that shit.
it will poke your eye out. I'm glad
Yeah.
that we both wear safety glasses, Bill. But yeah, so my Lego comes out with new sets on January 1st, and I had been keeping an eye on the Lego website to find out when the new sets were available or for sale. Specifically, I was excited about new Chima sets, but there is a Lego Detective Agency that came out on January 1st that Bill and I have both been amped about. So I get a phone call at 6:45 in the morning on January 1st, and I had this full range of emotions. At first I was like, fucking furious. Who the hell is calling me this early in the morning?
6:45. The year's only 6 hours and 45 minutes old.
And I pick up my phone, having missed a call, and I see that it was Bill, and then I'm just confused. I'm like, why is Bill calling me? Then there's a message from Bill saying, hey, the new Lego sets are online. So I'm thrilled, I'm delighted, and of course, because I'm a weirdo, and I spent, right as I was falling asleep on New Year's Eve, refreshing the Lego store page, I have the Detective Agency page pulled up on my Chrome on my phone.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, because everyone was expecting all these sets on the Lego site to go live maybe at midnight. If not midnight Eastern Standard Time, at least here on the West Coast, but that never happened.
Yeah.
So that's why when I just happened to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and right between about I was checking my email. The first time I went to go to the Lego site, none of that stuff was still available. But when I went back and checked it like 15 minutes later, it was. So that's when I called you saying, hey, Annie, if you want in on this Lego stuff before it sells out, you should do it now. And so that's why I called you at 6:45.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you did, actually. But, like, the range of emotions. Cause then
I know, yeah. Well, just funny because you didn't even wind up using the site anyway. You just
No.
you got your
Well, that's what I'm
story,
getting. Then my final emotion was frustration, was sadness, because they had a notice on there saying, hey, this is back ordered. It will probably not ship for 30 days. And I was so heartbroken. I'm sure they were just covering their ass for that initial
because I ordered
onslaught.
it right after I talked to you, and all my shit, it's already been shipped, everything, yeah.
So I rolled over to Foley, and I'm all forlorn and everything, and I explained to her what happened, and she just looks at me, she goes, so we're driving to the Lego store. And sure enough, the Lego store opened at 10, so bless Foley, drove me out to the Lego store. And I was a little apprehensive because I'm like, well, shipping schedules do not necessarily equal release dates. It's entirely possible that they had these sets early. It's entirely possible they don't have these sets yet. I was like, maybe we can call and find out, and then we'll drive out. But Foley was like, you know what, the time it'll take us to drive there, let's just go. Yeah. We wound up getting there about 15 minutes after open, and it was a fucking madhouse.
I don't know why I was surprised, but January 1st Lego store... Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, because they were coming out with a shit ton of product that day.
Oh, yeah. A lot of Lego sets, a lot of, creator and advanced sets.
Well, from what I saw online, the two big things that everyone was going for, it was the three big things. The first one was Frozen. There was a big Frozen set that supposedly, I guess, a lot of people have been looking for. The second one was there was a Star Wars Boba Fett ship, the Slave One, they came out with a new version of. And the third big thing being this Lego Detective Agency. But there was a shitload of other... If you go to Lego shop right now and look at everything that was just released on... Was it Thursday, January 1st? They came out with literally good 50 different new products that day.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. If you're involved in manufacturing at all, this shit is astonishing. It's pretty awing what they do. But anyway, so we get there. Yeah, there's a line. It's not a huge store. There is a U-shaped line.
Yeah, you posted a picture on Twitter. It looked like a broom closet.
There is a line spilling out into the mall. Out in the mall. It was just crazy. So, and of course I go in and I zero in right to where the detective agency is, and there is an empty shelf. And then I zero in on where the double-decker couch from the Lego movie is. There's also an empty shelf.
Oh my god.
And I'm kind of heartbroken, but of course, needless to say, the Chima sets were untouched.
That's good luck for you. Yeah.
So it was me and an
Aw.
8-year-old boy whose mom was trying to help him pick a set. So looking at the
Aw.
Shima. So the nice thing is that Shima is what I get for my animal parts for my Lego Western Town, and they released all these, like, what they call them, like, build your army sets or something like that, where it's like the crocodile army, the bear army, the lion army, or it's just 3 minifigures and like a little weapon, which is how I got to experience my projectile.
Yeah.
But they're great because they're just like little starter kits for like $10 to get you 3 minifigures. So I was like, well, I'll just get one of each of these, and that's pretty good. I'll have 12 new bed nights. But I was so sad because I really wanted that goddamn detective agency. So Foley and I are queuing, and there are all these assholes in front of us with the goddamn detective agency.
I hate all of them.
And just so...
Like the agency tucked under their arms?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, man.
And I'm just so mad.
Just
and
start
Foley
throwing punches.
Foley goes, can you ask someone if there's any left? But every single salesperson is ringing someone out. There's no one available. And so I just tell Foley to wait in line. I'm gonna go check. I'm gonna go look at some other sets. And I wander off, and I wind up by their stock room, and there is a pile of detective agencies in a box with a dude sitting next to it. And I knew that a 5 per person minimum. So I'm just stare at this guy, and I'm like, "Are those yours?" And he goes, "No." And I took one, and it was amazing. And I went back to line with like hearts and stars floating over my head. Foley looked so hopeful at me, and she goes, "Was there a double-decker couch, too?" So I go back to their stockroom, and I'm just standing in their stockroom door, glaring at the person unboxing stuff to put out to restock. And I just look at this woman, and I go, Are there any double-decker couches in there? She opens the box that she is literally handling and just wordlessly hands it to me, and I go back. So.
And I'm sure they probably spent the rest of the day pretty much selling stuff straight out of the stock boxes too. Yeah. Once everyone else caught on to like, oh, they probably did not even have time to get that stuff on the shelves. Yeah.
Mm-mm. So the cutest part was the dude in front of us in line was this cute gay guy who was waiting there to buy his Lego stuff. And we were just talking a little bit. And...
Oh man, gay guys love Into the Woods. 2 gay guys sat behind me. It was like a fucking cartoon. They fucking. Oh my god, they were along with the ride. It was me and those two guys. We were having a fucking great old time. Anyway, back to your story. It was pretty much, who's the new gay guy on Parks and Recreation? It was pretty much him and his boyfriend sitting behind me going, oh my god. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I'm glad you had someone game with you.
But it was, like I said, it was a cartoon because they were like, oh my god, that dress. It was totally, I was hanging out with the theater department back in high school again. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
So there's this cute gay guy, and we were talking to him, and he was impulse grabbing things we were checking out. It's like, he was really cute, but it's sad because then his partner came over with just his put upon look in his face with his orange Julius that he had gone to buy, and like we were like, oh, it's so cute. Here are some other gays who are so excited about Lego.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
It was a queue of middle-aged white guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. What bums me out? I wonder how many of those guys are probably just going to take that stuff home and resell it on eBay too.
I'll say this: a lot of those people, you could buy multiples.
Yeah.
Everyone there was only buying one of everything.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, super cool. Okay, so
I really think those are genuine, honest-to-God enthusiasts.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. A lot of kids there?
A few, though. What was funny is that there was like
the Lego store. There's like no kids.
There was like one kid who very clearly knew that new sets were coming out.
Yeah.
Like he was in on it too, just like everybody else. But there were so many oblivious parents who were just like, "What's going on?" As we were leaving, we followed after this dad who just got his son like one little set. He's just staring at us like, "What is happening?" It's like, "Oh, it's new Lego Day, dude." She's like, "Oh, okay." I was so confused.
It's like back in the 80s when the Russians were waiting in line for toilet paper, except now it's American. It's fucking Lego sets.
So the gay guy, his partner comes up with just this put upon look on his face, like, shakes his head, and I suddenly was like, I am so grateful that I have someone who is just as excited about this garbage as I am, if not more so, because it was just so sad. Because that dude was dropping $400 on Lego that day. Mm-hmm. And just have your partner come up and be like, motherfucker.
And it's funny that you could probably drop $400 on Lego in one afternoon and come home with like 2 boxes. Yeah. That sounds like they should buy you like a whole truckload of Lego stuff, but no, like you might get like a set.
Lego is expensive, yeah.
But anyway, the detective agency is like $160. Yeah.
Man, that Lego detective agency is the shit.
It's good times.
It's so good. We came home and Foley and I built it together, and it's a really cute set.
It sounds stupid, but you even talking about it, I almost feel like saying, no spoilers, man. No spoilers. Yeah.
I will just say this. There are a lot of really cool elements to it. There's a lot of really cool construction to it. We had so much fun building it, and it's a delight. It's really
were you able to build it just in one day?
We broke it up over 2 days.
Yeah, because me doing it by myself, it takes a
long damn time.
It took me about a part of a day just to build that little Lego snow speeder, and that's only like 100, 200 parts. It's not like really big or anything like that.
That Lego fucking detective agency is over 2,000 parts, my friend.
Oh my god! But yeah, it's got like little moving things. Like I saw you posted vines on Twitter, like little rotating ceiling fan in like the pool room, or the barber shop and all kinds of stuff.
There's a lot of cool shit to it.
Yeah.
But after we built all that, I did an audit of all my Benton characters.
Man, you're cruel.
Because
who'd you get rid of?
Well, the thing about Benton is that when I first started doing it, there were only so many Chima heads available, and also, frankly, when I first started doing it, I really just wanted wolf people. Yeah. But there are only 5 wolf people heads. Yeah. So at first I was getting a lot of duplicates. I bought maybe, let's say, 4 sets of all the wolf heads. But that's a lot of repeating elements, and it looked kind of cheesy. And, it didn't meet my exacting standards.
Cheesy.
So I started kind of going down the slippery slope, and now I pretty much have all the Chima animals except for the spiders and scorpions, because fuck that noise.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really did an audit where I tried to go through and eliminate as many repeating parts as possible. So as few repeating heads as possible, as few repeating torsos as possible, so that they're all actually unique.
Like a bucket of Chima parts now?
I'm going to send them all to Sid, friend of the podcast, Sid, who has a animal medieval town. Wow. So Sid's going to have some new additions coming from
Bentonshire.
Bentonshire.
Are they going to continue to produce more Chima stuff throughout the year? Because Chima seems like something that's not popular enough to justify. I'm kind of surprised it still exists.
Well, keep in mind that Chima is a whole franchise. It is not.
Oh, I know it's got its own logo, and it's part.
Well, no, it has. There's a TV show on Cartoon Network.
Oh, there is.
It has multiple video games.
Oh my god.
This is not just. This is not just like a weird series that they came out with and they're one and done. Well, there are over 130 Legend of Chima minigames.
So what else did you guys get up on Thursday? So you got the detective agency, you got the Chima, you got the double-decker couch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all we got.
Which is from the Lego Movie, which is Emmett's Devil. The cool thing about the double-decker couch is that it's only $15, but then you get minifigures of Emmett. Yeah. You get Emmett the girl.
You get Emmett. You get Lord Business. You get Unikitty, Benny. The
oh yeah, it's almost just worth it just for Benny right there. Yeah.
And Foley, does it also come with Good Cop, Bad Cop?
No.
Who's the 5th one? Oh, Vitruvius, Ghost Vitruvius.
Oh man, have you gone out to buy a lime sucker yet, so you can replace the staff with a real one?
No. But it's a really cute set. It really is. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, I've seen people that give a little review of oh my god, you get all these minifigures. This is actually a great deal for $15.
Yeah. So I gotta tell you, Foley put together the bulk of the detective agency. She had a lot of fun doing it. And then that day, a friend of the podcast, Mirabai, sent me a Lego set from my wish list.
Yeah.
That's like this treehouse. It's a cute set, but it's quote unquote only 300 parts or something like that. Foley just looks at it what is this? This is for children.
In comparison, it looks like a baby toy. And I was just like,
well, it's cool, yeah, but compared to the super complicated new set, yeah, I could see, is that the Lego Treehouse thing? Is that the one where you can turn it into it's designed to be 3 different things?
Yes, Lego has their creator.
Yeah, because I've seen that on the shelves. Yeah.
The creator series is all. It's not just one set. It's 3 sets. It's 3 in 1.
And granted, it's Lego.
Anyway, yeah.
And now, unfortunately, it could be 1,000 different things, but yeah. Yeah, so yeah. I ordered from Lego.
Foley, as soon as she finished.
What's that?
Foley, as soon as she finished the Lego Detective Agency, was like, how many other modular buildings are there? I'm just looking at her do not get into the sets that cost $200.
That's why I'm a little horrified by the fact that I bought both the Parisian Restaurant and the Detectives Agency, because then you start looking at the other sets in that series, and they're all fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the other day, I was looking at the Emporium, which I guess is one of it's this big fucking 4-story, essentially just big dry goods store. They've got the town hall, which comes with a little couple getting married in the front, and like that's fucking huge. And oh man, well, it doesn't help that Bricks and Minifigs, the Portland's big Lego reselling shop, in their main store out in Canby, which you guys took me to, they have versions of all these Lego storefront shops. It's inside the Bricks and Minifigs. It's in their window display essentially. It has all these like Lego town buildings, and seeing that in the flesh, it's like, oh my god, this is so cool. As someone who grew up like totally fascinated with like little model train communities and stuff like that, it's like kind of like that same thing where it's like, oh my god, this is so cool. It's like a little Lego world.
It taps into the same part of your brain. That's
and all these buildings are designed to like interlock with each other, and so you can kind of create like this little Lego town strip, but the terrible thing is almost all these sets are at least minimum of $150, if not like $200 to $300.
And all the ones that are discontinued, you can double or even quadruple that
I know,
price.
Exactly. And it's like, oh man, but like that stuff is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a note, I took pictures of all my bent nights that survived the audit, and I have them queued.
Survived the Lego audit.
To soberbeasts.tumblr.com.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool update, and you do pretty good little macro photography for that stuff too.
Thanks, Bill.
It's not just bullshit.
So anyway, yes, fucking Lego. So Bill, what did you wind up ordering?
I got the Detective Agency. Oh my god, what did I get? The most important thing is that my order qualified for the free new Lego flower cart.
Yeah.
Which you pointed out to me is actually designed to be a part of the Detective Agency because it has a little cookie barrel in there for smuggling cookies from the cookie bootlegging facility inside the Detective Agency set.
Yep.
So yeah, I got the flower wagon, I got the detective's office, I got the double-decker couch, and I got little baby snowspeeder, because they have little mini like Star Wars things. You said they had little mini AT-AT walkers now?
Yeah, I almost got that for you when I was at
I
the
didn't
store.
even see that, but I did order the little mini snowspeeder just so I could have a little baby companion to the full-size snowspeeder that you got me. And so yeah, so that should be coming to the mail to me sometime this week. And even more stupidly, I made my first Bricklink purchase this week.
Yeah.
I was looking up, because I keep on talking about how I want to take the Parisian restaurant and turn it into a Casablanca playset.
Yeah.
So I started looking up the prices of old World War II Nazi minifigures.
Yep.
And because Lego doesn't sell war-themed minifigures, the only way you can get like World War II themed minifigures and equipment and stuff is like the people essentially make customized minifigures online.
Yeah.
Looking at the prices for that stuff, it's fucking crazy. Just to get like 5 Nazi minifigures, which is about as many as I would need, would be like $150.
Yep.
And I was like, maybe later on this year when I've got a little more flush with cash, but not like right after Christmas. I got to pay rent. I got taxes coming up. I was like, I can't afford to spend money on that. But I did find on Bricklink someone who was selling most of the droids from the Lego Sandcrawler kit, which is the Star Wars Sandcrawler, which is from the first Star Wars movie. It's the the big Jawa Sandcrawler where they have all these droids and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that Sandcrawler kit comes with a bunch of super awesome little minifigure droids that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I actually found someone online who was selling most of those for like $50. I got all those.
Yeah.
And it's still crazy because I just dropped well, actually, I had a whole bunch of credit from the Lego online shop from all the stuff I've bought over the course of the last couple of years. So actually, all the new sets I bought from Lego directly this week, most of that stuff actually was free.
Yeah, I have as I was checking out of the Lego store, I still hadn't registered my Lego VIP card.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dude was looking at me. He's like, that once all this is done, you're gonna have like $40 in credits.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I used my credit for that, and so most of the stuff I got was actually free. But so that kind of justified me. Well, maybe I can spend $50 on these like little Lego Treadwell little droid and stuff like that.
I love you, Bill. Bill, it's your Christmas/birthday present to yourself.
I know, exactly. Like as if I still don't have like an unbuilt Lego Parisian restaurant in Simpson's house that I could just be building instead of buying new Lego on top of that. But
Bill, I should tell you that as soon as fully finished the Detective Agency, she just looked at me and she said, "What sets does Bill have?" I was like, "Do not go build Bill."
I should just come over and just buy her lunch so she could build this stuff for me.
Yep.
But yeah, so Lego. That's all of our Lego
That
stuff.
has got me.
Oh, Lego.
And we're only
So
going to be talking
anyway-
about it more as like I get my Lego in, and actually I should have you guys come over and hang out. We could have like a Lego building afternoon. That'd be kind of
Lego
fun.
Day.
Would not be the worst idea for an afternoon.
So just to continue the trend of Annie only talks about things she's talked about on the podcast a million times before, the only other thing I did this week was I started a new playthrough of Dragon Age Inquisition. This time, my Herald of Andraste is a human male mage named Geraldo. Geraldo, the Herald of Andraste, and I love Geraldo
Yeah.
so much. He's already my favorite. So my first playthrough, I wound up making a lot of decisions that would best entertain Foley as opposed to decisions I was necessarily invested in.
Yep, you placated me.
I totally appeased my wife in that playthrough, and this time we are approaching it a little more holistically. And I've had people tell me that Dragon Age makes more sense if you play it as a mage, just because so many of the stakes and narratives in the world are central around mage conflict, and to have a character who has a stake in that battle is just gives you a little more of a pull right there. And I'd say it's pretty great. And Geraldo has successfully now dated Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, what I realized all at once, the best feature of the PS4 is that you can capture gameplay video, which means that I can capture every single romance scene of the character in a Bioware game and then stitch together a video of my character's romance.
I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
It's actually, I was all of a sudden, I'm like, this single-handedly justifies the purchase of the PlayStation 4. I didn't get anything else, but I did capture the culmination scene, if you will, with Geraldo.
Where everybody finishes.
Where everybody finishes.
Also, I saw the opening part right after. Was it right before or right after they kiss? Was it Geraldo slides right out of screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great glitch. I was laughing my ass off.
So anyway,
yeah, essentially, like they're hanging out in this library, and Geraldo just kind of like he's standing there, and suddenly he's like, as if he were standing on a skateboard and was pushed out of the scene. He just slides out of the screen without actually like moving his legs or anything like that. That was fucking great.
Dragon Age Inquisition is fascinating in that it's a long ass game with a lot of dumb fetch quest mechanics in it, but when I finished it, the nature of the narrative and everything really did make me want to go back and replay it immediately, which never happens with me. I am a one and done kind of gamer, but replaying it, knowing the context of all the characters, knowing their backstories, and knowing their arcs to come, it's actually really great. It's really great. Foley and I are having a ball. So
how many hours have you put in that game so far?
Let's see. I was 110 hours with Azala Adar, I want to say.
Yeah.
And
110 hours with your first character already?
With my initial character, we did 110 hours, yeah.
Man, that's more than I ever played all of Fallout 3 over the course of an entire year. Holy shit.
It's almost like I took vacation time.
I know, I'm not criticizing. I didn't realize you'd already gone over 100 just with your first character, yeah.
Yeah, and then with Geraldo, I think I'm close to 20 hours.
They still have not patched up the interface to be compared
You're
to armor and stuff.
I love all you guys were like, when are they going to fix crafting? They're never going to do it.
I can't believe how terribly some parts of that game are designed.
It's really bad. I don't care. It's a game where I get to smooch people.
That game's rough. Anyway, yeah.
I learned to adapt because the game allows me to smooch people, so I'll deal with the rough parts.
Getting smacked in that face with that velvet glove, that is Dragon Age Inquisition's fucking UI design.
Tell me about Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers! So I finally finished Far Cry 4, which I talked about last week, which is a good game. I had a really good time with that, and still continue to have a good time playing with Foley doing co-op. But yeah, so that means I bought myself for Christmas, I bought Smash Brothers. It's Smash Brothers. If you've ever played Smash Brothers before, guess what? It's more Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
I fell into the trap. Have you ever played Smash Brothers, Annie?
No, I don't like fighting games.
There's, well, man, this is barely even a fighting game. It's more just like everyone flails at each other until someone falls out of the arena game. There's this thing in Smash Brothers, which I completely forgot about, which it does not involve fighting at all, but there's these couple modes where you just kind of do weird objective stuff. And one of the modes is you need to grab a baseball bat and knock this stuffed doll out of this arena as far as possible.
Yeah.
And the only idea is that, like, I don't even know if there's even online leaderboards for this. But it's simply, the whole goal is to just try to knock this punching bag as far out of the arena as possible. And I forgot that like back when Smash Brothers Melee first came out, this like fucking it's fucking 15 years ago. I spent probably dozens of hours just on one activity. You don't even walk around. You're just standing motionless on this pedestal, trying to like damage this thing long enough, hard enough so you can knock it as far as humanly possible out of the park. And I fell into that trap. I didn't realize they actually included that same minigame in this new Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And so there was a good 3 or 4 hours last week that I lost to where I just kept on OCD style over and over again, kept on just replaying this stupid little game of just trying to knock this stuffed bag out of this arena.
Yeah.
And it's because it's only like takes you literally 10 seconds because you're just kind of like winding up, you hit the button, and you just smack it out of the arena, and that's it. That's all you do. There's no like strategy to it or anything. And I just kind of did that. But yeah, Smash Brothers, it's great. You can play as a bazillion different characters.
Yeah.
I already beat it with Mario, Link, and Toon Link, and the main character from Fire Emblem Awakening, who you can play as. You can play as either male or female. Same thing with the Villager. I was super upset when they first announced the Animal Crossing Villager as playable. All the media just showed that you could just play as the dude villager, but it turns out the female villager is an alternate skin.
Oh, that's good.
Because every character in Smash Brothers has like 8 alternate costumes. All the alternate costumes for the villager, pretty much all the different versions of both the male and female versions of the villager from Animal Crossing. So if you want a female villager with big googly eyes, they've got that in there as an unlockable skin, or
nice.
male version and stuff like that. So
that's pretty good.
Smash Brothers. And then the other thing. My housemates for Christmas got me Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah.
Which is the first Zelda game that's not actually made by Nintendo. Not counting, there was an old. There was a couple games for the old CDI system that was not made by Nintendo, but those are infamous. But like this is the first big new Zelda game not made by Nintendo. It's not a puzzle game or a dungeon game. It's they got the guys who make these. Was it Dynasty Warrior / Samurai Warrior games to make essentially it's the same kind of game with the Zelda characters where you're just out on a battlefield playing as a random character just slaying fucking hordes of soldiers on these battlefields. Except now it's Zelda, you can play as Link, or actually like fucking like a dozen other different Zelda characters, including Zelda herself.
Nice.
Just laying waste to just vast oceans of bad guys, and it sounds like it'd be super boring, like just kind of like just hitting the A button just to kill dudes over and over again. But they do great scenarios where this guy over here needs your help, and this little fortress over here is gonna fall. You have to go protect these guys, and this guy's over here, and oh my God, the giant bomb is rolling down the hill over here, so you have to destroy that, and you have to do. It's kind of like weird time resource management on the battlefield. Aside from just doing all the combat stuff. Yeah. And it's great because it's all Zelda themed, and you're running around all these different time periods and places and throughout all the different Zelda games. And like it's got all the Zelda music that's all been turned into like butt rock Zelda music. It's all the Zelda music with like electric guitars and shit like that. So it's actually just like it's like you're playing the 80s action movie version of a Zelda game for like forever. That's the whole game. That's pretty great. I actually wanted to play the fuck out of that this week. I played a little bit of Smash Brothers, but Hyrule Warriors is actually a good fucking time.
Oh, I was kind of worried because I had heard reviews that were pretty scattered about that and tended to be on the more slagging end of things.
Well, it's not necessarily a good game, but it's kind of a great stupid game.
Yeah.
It really is kind of the game equivalent of like a stupid 80s movie.
Yeah.
A stupid 80s action movie where you can't objectively say it's a good game or a good movie, but it is a fun game / good, fun.
Yeah.
It's the Nintendo version of Die Hard, where you just run around killing people. It's just kind of fun, and the production values are ridiculous, but you still have fun in spite of itself.
Yeah.
I just played a whole bunch of that, and that was super cool.
Oh, nice. Bill, tell me about Plastic Galaxy.
Man, Plastic Galaxy, still wrapping up. I got this shit for Christmas. Talk. This is Dylan and Katie got me this for Christmas. Plastic Galaxy is a documentary about both the people who collect and the people who made Star Wars action figures. Specifically the Kenner's Star Wars action figures from the early 80s. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's actually a pretty nicely produced documentary. It's kind of funny. It's kind of like makes light of itself. It doesn't take the subject matter too seriously. But yeah, the interesting thing is it's not just talking to collectors, which could get boring after a while, because it is just guys saying, like holding up a Boba Fett action figure going, "This is my Boba Fett action figure. I got him when I was 12.
Yeah.
I get boring after a while. It's great that they actually spent just as much time talking to the guys who actually designed all this shit. And so, of course, all these guys are old and retired, and they're all like, I thought Star Wars was good, but I didn't think it was that good. All these people going crazy for these action figures. But then they're showing all these old sketches of the toys that they designed or didn't get designed. One of the best things is, really briefly, he's only on screen for a minute or two, is one of the guys who took all the photographs of the Star Wars figures for all the catalogs and everything like that, and for all the advertising, and he's slagging. So I guess when they first came up with the first Star Wars line, for the first Star Wars movie of toys and stuff like that, they hired one guy who lit everything super harsh with a harsh key light and stuff. Mm-hmm. And for some reason they didn't bring him back when they started making Empire Strikes Back toys. So they hired this new guy, and they interviewed this quote unquote new guy who was photographing all the action figures and stuff for The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and he's like, oh man, that guy used to light everything so harshly, but I did it so diffusely and did it so much better. And it's just kind of this weird, he's just he's so proud of this artistic photographic aesthetic viewed on the packaging photographs for these action figures. And then, actually, the other cool thing is he actually pulls out the camera that he actually used to take these photographs. And it's an old-centric camera from the 1920s. It's this, it's accordion. If you were to draw what your idea of an old-timey silent film still camera is, because it's old, accordion boxed, all brown and stained and everything like that.
Yeah.
But he says that's what if you look at it any kind of box art for an Empire Strikes Back toy, this is the camera he took the photos of with, and it's just very cute documentary. And there's once the documentary itself is over, there's 4 or 5 little mini documentaries about just other. It's super fucking cute.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, it's called Plastic Galaxy. It's available. You can rent it on iTunes for just a couple bucks. The DVD you can just buy straight out if you want a physical copies on Amazon for $15 and stuff. But yeah, I had heard about it, but it was one of those things where I was like, that sounds interesting, but the potential for that documentary to be terrible is so high. I don't know if I can justify dropping $20 on it. But yeah, Dylan and Katie got it for me for Christmas, and I was pleasantly fucking surprised. It is legitimately a fun documentary to watch.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the guys they talk to, they're nerdy and stuff like that, but it's never quite so I had to sell my children for this. The only one kind of kooky part that kind of makes your skin crawl just a little bit, or at least made my skin crawl, is this guy talking about how he has assembled a 100% complete Star Wars action figure collection. And then he's like, once I finished my collection, I had to start a second collection to pass it on to my child when I'm dead. And then he's like, but then I had a second child, and so now I'm working on a third collection to pass to him when I'm dead too. And I'm like, really? Do you think your kids really want or desire a 100% complete Star Wars collection once you're dead? And it's
maybe they're thinking that's going to be their college tuition or something.
I guess, or something like that. It's imagine if I just want to tell the guy what how would you think if when you died, your dad when I was waiting to give you 100% complete Howdy Doody action figure collection, what are you gonna do with that? It's just gonna collect dust in a fucking box in the basement. Get them frozen shit. That's what you gotta do. Get some fucking Lego movie. He should be investing in fucking. Now I was just suddenly angry because I just realized he's wasting all his money on shit that's not gonna be valuable someday.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So, yeah. Plastic Galaxy is good times.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Alright, friends, we're going to take a break, then we're going to do the Geek Week in review, and then after that we're going to discuss our favorite items of 2014, then look forward to 2015 and what is to come.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Okay, I got to write down Okay, it's 58 minutes.
Bill, I'm going to go get some water. Be right back.
Get some water. See if anyone's actually watching us. I can't believe we totally forgot to broadcast the link to this.
No.
Hello, one person who was watching us.
Okay.
The 2 people who are now watching us.
No, I don't want
now that we're on break, we're getting more viewers, which totally makes sense. Oh, I forgot about AGDQ. Shit. Also, Maxwell, if you're watching, thank you for reminding us to tweet a link that we're broadcasting. It'd been so long since we'd actually broadcasted. We completely forgot about the basic protocol of like telling everyone that we're actually recording. And which is funny because we actually did have some viewers watching us before we even broadcasted the link. So I don't know if people would just happen to stumble across us talking by accident or what. But yeah. So.
Bill, did you get the video I sent you?
No, why? What happened? I haven't checked my email all morning.
I sent you a ridiculous Far Cry thing.
What'd you do?
One thing I keep forgetting that I can record video of this kind of shit.
I keep on forgetting about that too. Yeah.
Because I straight up accidentally fulfilled a assassination mission. By trying to run across the street, and I got hit by the car of the guy I was supposed to be assassinating.
Oh, really?
And I figured that he would be protected, but he was just driving his truck by himself. So he hit me, I fell down, I got back up, he's got the marker above his head, I shoot him, he gets out of his car to yell at me, I shoot him with an arrow. No one else saw it, because all the rest of the guards are, like, inside the shop.
Yeah.
I pick up his body, I run him over to a bush, I throw him in it, and then I leave the area. Oh, that's
perfect.
So, but it was ridiculous,
because I forgot the assassination missions, no one else can see you kill the guy.
No one, yeah, you're not supposed to be,
that is perfect.
So it was really stupid and really great. But that's not what I recorded. I recorded a really awesome triple car explosion with the grenade launcher. It's just like, thank you for helping me get this thing. Because I did a pretty badass convoy destruction with just driving up, pulling to a stop. They're coming around the corner, and then
that's right, because the Pagan Men's convoy things kind of randomly pop up in the environment.
Yeah. So I winged the first truck, and then all the other trucks kind of ran into the back of the other one, and then I hit the first truck again, and it blew up, and it took all three with it.
Oh man! So have you been hunting so you can expand the number of grenade rounds you can carry with that thing?
I have not. No, I haven't done any of the hunting missions yet. I need to. I've been working on.
That really helps with the grenade launcher.
Yeah, I've been working on hostage missions and assassinations. Which...
Man, you're doing the complete opposite, because I just did the bare minimum of those that I needed. I spent most of the, I hunted as much as humanly possible to build up everything before I started running out of those missions, because there comes a certain point where you start running out of side missions until you've unlocked Northern Keyrat. Right. And that's what we were talking about with that bridge thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? I've been doing all the stealthy bullshit, so all of the assassinations, and I've completed them all without being seen, and I've completed all of the hostage missions without losing any hostages. So, I've murdered everyone. It's been really great. Annie, welcome.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out if there's a way I can send you a link fully. Have you guys heard about that there's a new bagel shop opening not too far from you guys?
I'm sorry, Bill, we couldn't hear you. What was that?
Motherfucker.
Is what not too far from us, guys?
There's a new bagel shop opening up.
There's a new bagel shop?
Yeah, 6420 Southeast Foster Road.
Oh, bagel shop, yes. What is it called? Henry Higgins Bagels?
Yeah, it's opening next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, boiled bagels, which cracks me up. Yeah, no, I saw the Willy Week has a whole big thing about the 2015's most anticipated new restaurants opening up in town, and that is one of them. There's also going to be a ham bar.
Yeah, someone was telling us about the ham bar.
Yeah, Spanish ham, Southern ham, Italian ham, Midwestern ham. I'm trying to see what else. There's a fire-baked pizza place called the Otter Sausage Fest. The Stolen Food Saloon. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at stuff. Purrington's Cat Lounge. A goddamn cat cafe. It's going to feature 10 different cats.
Yep, dude, Cat Cafe is going to be off the hook.
Oh, man, they have a picture of the ham cafe. Wow, the ham bar really is just like you go there and eat shitloads of ham. They have a picture of their plate, and it really is just like a big wooden thing filled with ham and cheese.
Yep.
Wow. Chizu? The place. Cheese served like sushi. What? It's a cheese bar. Look, so there's a ham bar and a cheese bar.
Portland.
There's New Bread Place, the Smokehouse Tavern. There's new Japanese ramen place. Anyway, that sounds like cool. I like Portland. They got crazy food here.
Yep.
Oh, you sound okay. We can continue recording. You don't care about food.
Nope.
Unless it's Lego food. Unless it's sausages or chicken wings. Not even chicken wings. What, the big plastic chicken legs?
This is true.
Okay, you're completely not invested. Okay, we'll continue with the show. Yes, the monosyllabic answers from Annie Maloney.
Hey, buds. Guys, it's time for the Geek Week in Review. Are you ready for some geekery?
What's going on?
The context of this is that Bill has written down some things that I'm reading for the first time, so let's see what geek news we've got.
There's a brand new format for the show. Annie just barely puts up with Bill shit. Well, in this case, the shit Bill has typed.
How is that just the format of our show for the last 3 years?
Annie thinly veiling anger at Bill for being around.
Hey, what's first in the Geek interview? The lady who voiced Babe the Pig and Dexter on Dexter's Lab passed away last week.
That is a damn shame. She's one of those people, I didn't realize that was an actual human being, and I just thought those characters were those characters. Are you telling me Babe the Pig is not real, and that was a lady voicing Babe the Pig?
Sorry, Bill.
Man, that breaks my fucking heart.
I wonder how Babe holds up, like, aesthetically.
I know Babe 2 is awesome. I have not seen the original Babe the Pig since it was first out. How could it not hold up? It's such a quaint, cute little movie. Unless
I mean, like, I meant the special effects.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, like the talking animal stuff.
The funny thing is, the first thing when I heard that the lady had voiced Babe the Pig, I was like, oh, what's Kate Beaton gonna think? Because I know she has that little... She had a Twitter icon that was like, that'll do pig. Is that Kate Beaton? Oh, no, yeah, because it's like, well, she put her face over Babe the Pig. I think that's what it was. Or is that Buttface McCaney? I can't remember.
So Bill's first thought was some internet woman will be sad.
Well, that was the thing. It's Babe the Pig. Babe is dead. They can't do a Babe 3 now. What's George Miller gonna do now without Babe the Pig?
Was that a George Miller movie?
Yeah, George Miller lost his fucking mind.
Oh.
He said, if I can't make Mad Max movies, I'm going to make Babe the Pig movies.
And Happy Feet.
Happy Feet.
Oh, George Miller, okay.
And well, the other thing, man, Dexter from Dexter's Lab. No, Didi. Oh my God, that was one of the best cartoon voices ever. That lady, seriously. I can't, you know what? She meant so much to me, I couldn't even bother to write her fucking name in the show notes, but...
Two of the most, like, I would say that Dexter and Dexter's Lab is one of the most iconic voices in...
That voice was funny even without the animation. If you just listen to an episode of Dexter's Lab, it's fucking hilarious. That lady, man, she was a godsend. And I guess maybe, I don't know how long she was a voice actress or whatever the hell happened there, but like, I don't even know what she died of, but she's gone, and that is a goddamn crying shame.
Yeah. Continuing Bill's parade of we're sad about people passing, a Gilmore Girls star and head vampire from The Lost Boys, Edward Herrmann, died on New Year's Eve of brain cancer. He was 71.
Yeah, man, I like him so much. Even though really only anyone knows him from... Oh, he also voiced a lot of car and truck commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Gilmore Girls. He was the dad on Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
I did not know he was in Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah. Have you never seen The Lost Boys?
I have never seen The Lost Boys.
Are we going to have to do a live Lost Boys commentary? No, actually, that's spoiling the fact that he's the head vampire, because the fact that he's head vampire, for the whole movie, you're supposed to think that, not Keanu Reeves, Kiefer Sutherland, you're supposed to think that he's the head bad vampire. Then you find out that the head bad vampire is this dude who's trying to mack on Edward Scissorhands' mom. And then you're like, oh shit. And then the old dude grandpa shows up and impales Gilmore Girls' dad with a telephone pole on a truck. And that kills him because he's a vampire. Then he explodes.
You have summed up why I have no urge to see The Lost Boys.
And also, one of the most famous memes to come out of Lost Boy is Greasy's sexy, grinding hip saxophone player guy. It's one of those 80s movies where everyone goes to hang out at Venice Beach on the pier, and the major source of entertainment on the pier is a sexy, greasy, super muscled guy wearing a leather vest, playing saxophone, and like humping the air while he does it. You would love it. It's fucking fantastic.
Sounds like my jam.
And also, Corey Haim. Is that, yeah, I think Corey Haim, that's the Corey that's in that. We were watching The Lost Boys on Halloween, and we just realized he has a lot of weirdly, kind of gay posters on his wall, because he has all these, it's like Richard Grieco, shirtless, kind of like, not that there's any problem with the character's gay or anything like that. Actually, the movie was directed by a gay guy, so I don't know if that was supposed to be a little in-joke he's kind of slipped in or something like that. But, yeah, Lost Boys is really fucking weird, but great. I fucking love The Lost Boys. But, yeah, Edward Herrmann. More importantly, yeah, the head vampire dad from He Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Annie does not care about this at all.
I'm just thinking, you know what, God bless 80s movies, because it was more likely for a weird genre 80s movie to have, some strange interest to it, as opposed to, nowadays it feels like even a crappy action movie has nothing, no...
Well, there's this unified aesthetic that all action movies seem to have these days.
Yeah.
Where it's the same kind of Hans Zimmer score, it's the same kind of cinematography, everything's trying to look like 300 and sound like Inception, and yeah.
Yeah. In other news, Neil Blomkamp's teased an alien movie concept that he was working on.
Did you see anything about this yourself?
All I saw was the Sigourney Weaver with the alien thing.
Yeah, so you have about as much context for this as anyone else. So yeah, Neil Blomkamp, the guy who directed District 9 and Elysium, which I've never actually still seen Elysium yet.
Yeah, me either.
He just out of the blue started tweeting all these alien concept pieces of art that he had commissioned. And he wouldn't say anything about the project other than 20th Century Fox had either never been involved or was no longer involved. And so, for some reason, he was like, well, I'm not working on this anymore, so I'll just post all the artwork for this thing that I was working on. I don't know if he was working on maybe an Alien sequel that maybe kind of got scuttled once Prometheus happened or what. But yeah, so it's all kinds of crazy artwork of Sigourney Weaver. There's one thing of her she an alien mask. She's got this weird thing on where it kind of makes her head look like one of the aliens, but then she can put a gas mask on, so she looks like the space jockey from the first Alien movie. There's artwork of her and Hicks from Aliens running around. They're obviously supposed to be current old aged versions of those characters, but Hicks is the one side of his face is melted because he gets scarred with acid at the end of Aliens, and I guess he's just never got it fixed between now and then. And all this stuff with the Weyland-Yutani Corporation has captured the alien derelict ship from the first Alien movie, and not quite sure what the hell that movie was supposed to be, but he was working on something, and all just seemed kind of interesting. And I'm a little bit bummed to think that if Prometheus did kind of scuttle this movie, it's kind of a bummer because I'd rather Neil Blomkamp, someone who seems to actually have actual passion for the franchise, I'd rather him make another Alien movie than Ridley Scott kind of pull more Prometheus shit out of his ass, because he's obviously just doing that stuff as a cheap money grab. And, I mean, Prometheus wasn't terrible, but I think Ridley Scott is totally in just kind of coasting mode where he's not really doing any projects that he's really invested in. He's just kind of doing stuff just to kind of fluff up his bank account. And he's kind of almost admitted as such in certain situations. And fucking put Neil Blomkamp in charge of that shit. That would even if the movie that's not to guarantee Neil Blomkamp's Alien movie would necessarily be good or anything like that. But at least there's something to be said for passion.
Yeah.
And he's obviously passionate enough, I guess, to be doing cooking up his own concept art, without even an actual green light from 20th Century Fox. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. So anyway.
Yeah, it was a weird thing.
Could have been cool.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there was a rumor a while ago that there were going to be, instead of a true Blade Runner.
That's your cat, Annie.
It's okay.
What's going on?
My printer's going off.
There you go. You're good.
Instead of a true Blade Runner sequel, they were going to do a series. They were going to get a bunch of different directors and creators to do a series of shorts based on Blade Runner or inspired by Blade Runner. And that was so much more interesting than eventually Ridley Scott was like, oh no, I'm just gonna make another Blade Runner movie.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do another one just because people keep on telling me I should, so I'll finally do it. Yeah.
I get that, because from Fox's perspective, that is the more fiscally responsible choice to make.
Yeah.
It's a better return on investment, or potential better return on investment. But you know, like some shit like the weird Matrix anthology.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna think of. That's the closest thing to that I can think of. Yeah.
Like, I think that's an interesting idea, to have different creators play in a universe and get different perspectives and different kind of narratives from it, than just have someone make a sequel.
Man, you know what they should do? Ridley Scott should be like, instead of making Blade Runner 2, he should be like, everyone on Tumblr, if you post a Tumblr artwork, fan art of Blade Runner, I'll score it to Philip Glass music, and I'll put that in movie theaters as like
there you go.
A glorified 2-hour Blade Runner slideshow.
Yeah.
Man, you know what I was thinking the other day? How has no one created an animated GIF movie yet? Theatrically released, it would be better than Jackass. You just take the best, funniest animated GIFs of the last decade, cut into like an 80, 90-minute movie. It would fucking do gangbusters.
Bill, I'm getting an epileptic fit just at the description of that movie.
Yeah, you see, I mean, if not an animated GIF of like YouTube videos, I know the rights clearances would be a fucking nightmare. But man, with that would probably want to be the all-time greatest comedies, is all I'm saying.
Bill, in Portland, at the Hollywood Theater, there is a series, I think it's monthly, called Getting to Know YouTube.
Oh, really?
All they do is screen YouTube videos.
That's what I'm talking about. And if you did an animated GIF movie, what you do is you kind of like put everything through an old-timey filter and kind of make everything a little bit too fast, and then like have a live piano player in the theater. So it's like, oh, it was like 100 years ago, a Schmitty. Now I'm watching silent films, but that person has fallen down.
Oh, your weird what is his name, Edgar G. Robinson impression? Like old timey dude.
That lass has fallen. Oh, I see that lass has hit her face in the face with a catapulted watermelon.
To go back to what we were discussing, it's interesting to think that you would never have Aliens happen today. Like, if Alien came out today,
yeah,
and did really, really well, there is no way a movie theater or Fox would let Aliens happen.
How so?
It's too weird and too different, and it doesn't successfully iterate on all the
funny thing is, I think you could get Aliens made. If Aliens was the first movie, I don't think you could get Alien made, but saying this is going to be like a $50 million horror movie.
Yeah.
That's like, we're going to have this weird German pervert design everything.
That is true, but my point is that, like, you can't, it's harder and weirder to have weird things.
Fuck, regardless of which Alien movie it is, it wouldn't star Sigourney Weaver, it'd star fucking Charlie Hunnam, or whatever the fuck his name is, or it'd be fucking Channing Tatum or something.
Yeah, it'd be Chris Pine, man.
Yeah, it'd be Chris Pine, and instead of Hicks, it'd be fucking Jonah Hill. That kind of shit. Yeah, exactly. Well, then again, if it was Chris Miller and Phil Lord actually making an Alien movie starring Magic Mike and Django Unchained, I could see that working.
In other news, Sam Raimi admitted on the Nerdist podcast that he done fucked up Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Do you have anything
about this?
Spam of that?
No, that's it. No. He came out. It was just a podcast interview with the Nerdist. Nothing too. He didn't come out and say anything specifically that he fucked up with the movie, other than he recognizes now that it was wrong. I only kind of put this in there because I know you're a fan of Spider-Man, not necessarily the movies and stuff. And this kind of does tie into like the big franchise shit that we're kind of talking about a little bit. But he does recognize that it was probably a mistake to try to like outdo Spider-Man 2 in terms of scale and number of villains.
Yeah.
And that they should have, instead of like having like 5 more villains again and trying to do the fucking, who was it, Venom in that movie?
God, it was Venom and what's the name of the Sand dude?
Yeah, is it just Sandman?
I don't know. And then there was,
you know what? I think his name is Sand Stan.
Oh, Home Delivery. Home Depot Home Delivery, so that's funny.
What's that?
I don't even know.
I need a cubic yard of sand.
So, I can't remember. There was a third villain in it.
Sandstand.
You had Venom. Oh, and wasn't the lizard in that one?
No,
Something of the lizard. They were always teasing the lizard, and they never got around to it.
There were 3 villains.
It was, It was that 80s guy, right?
No, Electro was in the most recent Spider-Man movie.
See, that's how memorable Spider-Man 3 was. That you don't even know what was that? Did Aunt May suddenly start packing heat and start shooting?
All I can remember is Topher Grace was what's his butt.
Well, Spider-Man 3, Aunt May does become chief of police. Which I thought that was a pretty bold choice. She's like, we're gonna find my goddamn husband's fucking killer.
Oh,
fucking up too much.
Oh, Spider-Man.
But yeah, it's also rare for a movie director like of his stature to come out and say, yeah, we fucked up that one. If I could go back, I'd do that one over again. You didn't say anything about like the infamous emo dancing scene, which everyone's
one of the worst.
I still remember being in the theater. I don't know if I was with you or who else, but I remember being in the theater and like everyone, like the vibe in the theater getting uncomfortable when that shit happened, because it was one of those things where like, are we supposed to take this seriously? Are we supposed to start laughing? And then people did start laughing.
Oh, it was James Franco as the Goblin. That was.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking movies are terrible.
Did you actually end up seeing Spider-Man 2?
No.
I mean, the new Spider-Man 2.
No. As much as I love Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, the first one was so humorless.
Yeah. And
so drained everything I love from Spider-Man that I just couldn't bring myself to it.
Reading about more Into the Woods stuff last night, I guess they first approached Emma Stone to play Cinderella in the movie instead of Anna Kendrick, which really weird. Why would you not go to Anna Kendrick first? But Emma Stone turned them down and said she didn't want to play Cinderella, but she'd much prefer to play Jack, who is Jack and the Beanstalk, who in Into the Woods is like this mildly retarded kid. I just love that's like, I want to play the retarded kid. I don't want to play Cinderella. I want to play that guy, which I thought was kind of funny. I like Emma Stone. Oh, and I was reading in Entertainment Weekly this week. They had an interview with her, and they were like saying, "Hey, Emma Stone, what's your favorite memories of like 2015 or 2014?" And she's like, "When I was filming, I don't know what the hell movie she was in this year, but she was like, I was on the set of that movie, and I finally beat Donkey Kong Country. I've been trying to beat that game for 20 years, and now I'm finally old enough that I had the like physical maturity to beat Donkey Kong Country." And I was like, "Oh my God, Emma Stone."
Bless her.
Yeah.
Marvel this week, as part of the viral advertising for their upcoming Ant-Man film, released a ant-sized Ant-Man teaser trailer. It's like,
did you see it?
50 pixels by 100 pixels.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Assholes.
It's a pretty good joke.
I'm kind of bummed they only let it stand for a day before they actually put out the normal human-sized trailer.
Yeah.
That was fucking, like, whoever at Marvel did that, like, they earned their paycheck for that week.
They knew they had to get in the nerds' good graces for scaring off Joe Cornish and Edgar Wright. So
yeah, that's actually a pretty good point. Yeah. Speaking of earning paychecks, did I ever show you that YouTube video of the guy who dresses as Gaston at Disneyland?
No, but I did see that floating around where the push-up contest.
Yeah, there's a new one where he gets involved in a pushing contest with a random stranger. This random stranger goads him into a push-up contest, and Gaston destroys his ass. He's doing one-handed push-ups and destroys this guy.
It's really good.
Yeah, that guy, man. He's fucking hilarious. And it's also terrible because he's got like a terrible muscle suit on and everything.
Yeah. So good.
God damn. Yeah. Anyway.
In conclusion, Bill notes, awesome games done quick.
Yeah, so this is the thing that they do every winter now, which is a bunch of speedrunners get together, and in order to raise money for cancer research, they do awesome games done quick, which is, for 24 hours a day for a solid week. Just live over Twitch, they just broadcast a whole bunch of people hanging out in a hotel, just one after another. Everyone's just trying to like speed run through all these different classic games as fast as possible. Actually, not even classic games, because they do like the first game that they were playing this year, which this whole thing started like an hour before we started broadcasting. They were playing the latest Donkey Kong game for the Wii U. So,
oh yeah.
I saw one of the big games like tomorrow they're supposed to be doing is like Dark Souls 2 and stuff. But I think people tend to do a lot of older games just because those games are more easily breakable, and those games aren't like 40 hours long. Like, you could actually blast through a playthrough of like Donkey Kong Country and like even without glitching and speedrunning, like you could play it like, you know, in half an hour if you wanted to. But yeah, it's really cool if you're really into awkwardly socialized nerds like me who don't communicate very well playing video games for a whole straight week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should check that out. It's actually pretty good times.
I'm not a big fan of streaming or Let's Plays, just because it's not really how I like to interact with games. I see what the appeal in others, and for like games that aren't my type of games, like non-narrative games and stuff like that, I can see the appeal a little more. But Double Fine, I think we talked about this before. Double Fine has started their series called Devs Play,
which I haven't seen yet, but I hear everyone freaking out about. Yeah,
I highly recommend it. I've only watched the first one where they are it's Greg Rice playing the Super Nintendo, or maybe the Genesis version of The Lion King, and while talking to some of the developers, and they released some this week that's Earthbound and Mother, and it's just a really good series, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and they're playing with the people who actually originally made the games, right?
Yeah. The whole thing is that they're playing the game with a developer or translator.
I thought it was just a developer, a random developer giving commentary to a game. I didn't realize they were actually talking to they're like, hey, you made this 20 years ago. Tell us how you did this.
Yeah. It's just interesting. It's nice to see how the sausage gets made.
Man, in 6 minutes they're gonna start playing Banjo-Kazooie.
Then we better wrap this up.
I know.
Friends.
We gotta go. At 2:45 they're gonna start Diddy Kong Racing. I'm trying to see if there's anything. They're playing Transistor later on tonight. I'm trying to see. Oh, Drake's actually they're doing Uncharted tonight.
I have no interest in speed plays, Bill.
You know what? It's not them just going fast, but the way they kind of glitch through some of that stuff, it could be really weird. Like, yeah, that's kind of the bummer thing, because if you tune into this stuff expecting just to watch people playing the games, they tend to break these games enough that you're not really, you don't get the entertainment value of just like watching someone play a game, because they'll glitch out and like skip whole parts of the game so much that it kind of becomes its own weird, different kind of like weird, almost like fucking performance art kind of.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting from that perspective, but it's not quite as fun. Or at least not fun in the same way as it is just like watching someone just like, I'm going to play Donkey Kong. I like Donkey Kong, but
yeah.
I don't know.
You're absolutely correct. It is more performance art at that point than anything else.
Especially when you got a bunch of poorly under-socialized guys like me all trying to do commentary, and no one can speak well or do commentary well, and they're like, oh, and then everyone's using lingo you don't understand because everyone's got their super hyper specialized talk about how they describe what they just did and stuff, and they're like, I don't know what these guys doing, but they're wizards, and it's pretty impressive, even though I don't know what the fuck's going on. But, that's angry games done quick.
Awesome games done quick. It doesn't have an A in there, so
we should do our counterpoint for Annie's. It'll be a benefit for Ben. Animal games done quick.
Yeah.
We can do all the Disney games.
There we go.
We can do some Timon and Pumbaa.
I can just play Inherit the Earth, Quest for the Orb 10 times in a row.
Is that animals?
Yes, those are animals. That was my favorite animal game of my youth.
Why? What do you do in that game?
It's an adventure game.
Oh, yeah.
We'd make for a terrible speedrun. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
All right, friends, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back and talk about what we enjoyed in 2014 and what we are anticipating in 2015.
Okay, I'm going to write down the number time. Okay, it's 127.
127.
We're almost, it's going to be a pretty quick podcast, even though with 3 segments.
All right.
Is this a fake break?
Sure, yeah. I think I'm ready to go if you are.
Fine. Man, people posting cute photos of their cats on Twitter. Oh, man, Leia Wethington, she's been babysitting Brandy's cat for the longest time. It's a cat named Mango.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, the cutest, fluffiest little fucking tortoiseshell cat in the world. Oh my god. Anyway, how you doing?
Hey, pals, it's time. It's time for us to look back on 2014. The games that were, the movies we watched, the TV shows we binged. Let's talk about things we enjoyed. Bill, tell me some of your... Fully does not enjoy my attempts at professionalism. Bill, please share with me, elucidate upon your beloved experiences.
You think this would be better if we just shouted out the names of everything we liked without commentary and then talk? We could be like that guy who yells about the weather on YouTube.
Bill, I was thinking that as a challenge to us that we could time ourselves and give ourselves no more than 15 seconds to discuss each item.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, my first thing is Angry Games Done Quick, which I saw for the first time last year. It was good. Now I watch it every year. It's good. It helps cancer.
One of my favorite games this year was Banner Saga, which was my favorite visual novel in which you do not get to date monsters, but instead get to stab at zombies.
Simpsons Marathon. There was a Simpsons Marathon. It went for 24 hours. No, wait, more like a whole week. I got to see a lot of Simpsons episode. It was good. I illegally streamed it. It was still good.
Wolf Among Us episodes 2 through 5 came out in 2014. A quite enjoyable Telltale experience. I do not think it would be as enjoyable in one go, but I think it was my favorite Telltale game to date, with excellent character designs and pretty darn good voice direction.
Why do you make note that episodes 2 through 5 came out?
Because episode 1 came out in 2013.
Oh, well, you might as well count it as a whole piece. I'm glad you like that. I still want to check that out because not just you, but I've heard a lot of people go off about how great that is.
I would recommend taking a week break in between episodes.
Really? Why?
Yeah. It really does, I think, it is not designed to be binged. I'll tell you that.
Oh, really?
I don't think
is it just emotionally tense?
No, I don't think it would. I don't think the narrative and everything would hold up as well
being
binged. So
you have to forget some of your decisions.
or it's just like it's not. It really is more episodic, and I feel like as a whole, it's not going to be as satisfying as it is just consuming in episodic bits.
It's like Teen Wolf.
Okay, my next thing is Broken Age. Broken Age is a game. It's really pretty. It looks like it's hand painted. You get to play as one guy, and you get to play as a lady. And then at the end, they flip flop, and she's got a dress, and she's a baker, and he lives on a ship, and there's this wolf living in the walls. And I thought it was really cool. And the puzzles are really easy because I'm not that smart. It made me feel smart because then I kind of beat the game super fast. And where the fuck is Broken Age 2? Because it's a year later now, and they haven't said anything about it. Do you think Broken Age
actually exists? They have said that it's coming out next year.
When's it coming out? Is it coming out next year?
Yes. I'm sorry, excuse me, now this year, 2015, sorry.
Did they say if it's going to be just like is it just going to be like a Twine game?
Yes, Phil, that's
Where
exactly
is this game?
No, this is interesting in that this is the year that some Kickstarter games came to fruition, including Broken Age.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Actually, well, this is, I got another example of that, but that's later on.
As do I! We'll get to it in time.
Oh my god!
There were actually, God bless us, 3 Assassin's Creed related games that came out this year.
Wait, what was the other one?
The one I enjoyed the most was not Unity, was not Rogue. It was actually Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, the DLC expansion for the Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which I think really successfully took some of the gameplay elements from Black Flag and just by tweaking the context a little more and giving you a new protagonist, made it an enjoyable, pretty good standalone experience.
Alright, is that the one where you play as a black slave?
You play Adewale, yes.
Yeah, and supposedly it's the Freedom Cry team that's working on the next Assassin's Creed game, right?
It's interesting just because he is one of the things I liked about Black Flag is that Kenway had Edward had a little more heft to him. He was a little more of a bruiser, and Adewale even more so. There is a degree of physicality that I really enjoyed in Freedom Cry. And at the end of the day, it is just really emotionally satifying to kill oppressors. Just straight up kill oppressors.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that Django Unchained kind of feel to it, where it's just like, or like, it's kind of the same thing with Wolfenstein 3, or the new Wolfenstein game, where it's one thing to kill guys, but when you're killing Nazis who have taken over the world, they deserve to die more than even most video game bad guys.
It gives it a kind of, I don't know, I think Freedom Cry did a good job of taking everything that was good about Black Flag and concentrating it and then turning it into something just by reorienting it just a hair.
Making it a little more righteous.
Made it something different and enjoyable.
Well, that's the thing, too, because like the Assassin's Creed game, the first Assassin's Creed games had a little bit of a social context to it because you were took place during the Crusades and had a little bit of like a social weight to it. And
Bill, that is the fog of time.
I know, but they were trying to. At least it was supposed to kind of like making kind of like.
Bill, if you want to say that of Assassin's Creed 1 or 2, you can apply that same thin layer to all of them.
No, Assassin's Creed 2 was just about how they invented pizza. No, but that's the thing with all these games taking place in like these historically. Politically conflicted times and places, they could take more advantage of, like, I mean, I guess you can say Assassin's Creed Unity, it takes place during the French Revolution, and you're fighting for the revolution and stuff like that. But you know what I mean, like especially, like, fucking, there's even more fucked up shit in history that you could be fighting against or for, I don't know. That shit could be more fucking charged than it is.
Assassin's Creed does not handle any sort of subtlety well. It does
It
not
doesn't handle anything well. It doesn't handle
politics
gameplay well.
It doesn't handle religion well. It doesn't handle relationships well. All it does is handle stabbing dudes well.
You know what Assassin's Creed is really good at is disclaimers at the beginning of their game saying, "Don't hurt us." There's a bunch of different people working on this game.
Bill, what else did you play this year?
I played Far Cry 4. I cry so much during Far Cry 4. Why are these games called Far Cry? There's no crying involved. The end.
So yeah, I have to say, Far Cry 4 is also Foley's game of the year, just because she's enjoyed so much, not only playing it, but also playing it online with Bill.
Yeah, no, it really that is the best part of the game. Is just you can do everything you can do in the single player solo stuff, co-op, which is the thing ideally that like more games would have. I can understand why more games don't have that because from a technological point of view.
Sure.
It's really rough from development perspective, time and budget. That's really rough to kind of throw together. From a game design perspective, that's really rough. But man, that means that single mode in Far Cry 4 elevates it so much.
Yeah.
That it's like I think Far Cry 4 is a legitimate must-have for the PlayStation 4. Unless you're really not into first-person shooters, at which point even if you do that co-op, you're not gonna have any fun with it. But it's good times.
Yeah. It's like Foley has had more fun fucking around with you in Karat than he has in any other game this year.
Far Cry 4 is the online multiplayer first-person shooting co-op game that, not that I wanted Destiny to be, but I've definitely had more fun with Foley playing Far Cry 4 than I got to play out of Destiny. And I thought Destiny was going to be like, this big godsend of like, oh my god, you can play with other people and it's going to be amazing, and that turned out to be shit.
Yeah.
So.
Foley, was there anything you wanted to add about Far Cry 4?
It's amazing to kill dudes with Bill.
Yeah.
Bill's a good pilot.
Bill is an excellent pilot. Bill's a far better pilot than I am.
I actually am a pretty good pilot, but I am a terrible fucking car driver.
You maybe. Yes. Yeah, you've rolled us off more than a few.
More than a few times, yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's fantastic that there's something that I love that the multiplayer aspect of it, that co-op aspect of it, that you can drop into my game and things that you help me do stick.
Mm-hmm,
that actually is something where, no, this is legitimately difficult to do, and it's a lot easier when you have somebody to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, nothing is as entertaining as taking on a giant fortress that should be really hard to do, and having two people's different gameplay styles end up complementing each other in a way where it means that you can be successful at something that's very difficult.
Yeah, I forgot about that one fortress where you distracted everyone while I snuck around to the back of the fortress and like undid all of the alarms and stuff, and then shot everyone from behind while you were like essentially up on this hill going, "Look at me! Look at me! Look at me!"
There is something killing you from behind these trees. But yeah, no, it's a distractingly and almost overwhelmingly robust game. But I get to see eagles pick up tapers and then fly them really high into the air and drop them on the ground.
It's a great sandbox, yeah.
And all of the atmospheric stuff that ends up happening, like all of the programming that went into making those interactions so randomized, I cannot even put my brain around it. But it's
a really pretty game, like beautiful sandbox, and the main villain's pretty cool, and like it's a good package.
The ambient music is so great, and the mood that's set is fantastic, and it's having played and seen Annie play large portions of Far Cry 3. I am really glad it went this direction as opposed to continuing on what it was doing before, because that was terrible.
Have you done any more missions for Sabal or?
I don't think I have. I've been focusing on freeing hostages. And
okay. I just don't know if you've seen any more of that stuff, because that stuff gets a little crazy a little bit later too.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen, because I have a feeling it's going to be really great. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely Far Cry 4. Because sheer amount of fun that I have had, and fun to like frustration levels, the fun is far greater. And what's cool about it is that even when you die, even when an eagle kills you, even when like all this terrible shit happens, I still find that on that game more than anything else, I come around the other side going, I can do that differently. Let me try it again.
Would you say that this game makes you far from crying?
Yes.
That was my joke. That's my joke for y'all.
All right, we're gonna refer to that game as Near Laughter 4.
Terrible.
One of the most emotionally satisfying gaming experiences from last year for me was The Last of Us Left Behind, the DLC for The Last of Us, exploring what happened to Ellie before the events of The Last of Us in the context of one of the most jarring events of The Last of Us. It's just, obviously, I am attached to it from a narrative perspective, as it does examine a queer relationship in games, but even beyond that, the way they use the core gameplay mechanics to just kind of play with friendship and relationship, and to have a piece of DLC that just focuses on a relationship is everything that I love in Naughty Dog games, done with the skill and craft that is why they're one of my favorite developers working today.
And, everyone, like, the emotional stuff is great, like, kind of the recontextualization of some of the gameplay stuff was great, too. But then I forgot, I was looking through some videos of some of the Left Behind stuff in preparation for the podcast, and I forgot, there's also, you get to explore a Halloween costume shop.
That's one of the best parts of the game. Is
one of the best
interact
environments
with
in a
stuff.
video game I've ever played in the last couple years. It's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And Phil Theobald of the Player One podcast, he mentioned that this is also one of his favorite things of the year, too. But Left Beyond also contains his favorite piece of dialogue from any game throughout the year, which is, what's the name of the bad guy in the fighting game that Ellie likes so much? Skeletor?
Oh, I can't remember, yeah.
Anyway, she says, like, Skeletor, suck my dick. Which is, that is easily the greatest line reading of the entire year in video gamedom.
There's a portion of that game that where Ellie and Riley are looking at the machine, and Riley helps Ellie just imagine what happened, what playing the game was like.
No, I thought that was stupid. I didn't get it, because I have a hard time understanding a human emotion. Psychopathic, so I'm like, where's the picture? Is my TV broken?
A smart way to make a lot of emotionally impactful things from these little gameplay elements. It was interesting the way it built on a lot of the things that Telltale has been playing with and beat them at their own game.
Also, like, actually that moment with the video game arcade cabinet, which is something, that's funny, I completely forgot that happened, but that's also just a great video game moment in that, like, it's kind of the magic of video games in a video game for a moment, even though it's not really the whole point of that scene is like, oh, video games are so great, but like the fact he's describing this video game and like one of the characters wants to play a video game so much, and you're like, oh man, that's kind of
the way the sounds come in and everything like that.
Yeah, and it's just like, and you
it does get your heart beating a certain way, and you can imagine your mind's eye
describing, and like Ellie would have so much fun with that, and you realize that you're playing a video game right now, and you want to like travel your time and say, hey Ellie, have my PlayStation 4, everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I've ordered you a Lego.
That shit, some good shit.
Yeah, that was, again, Left Behind is definitely the best slice of gaming I played all year.
Yeah, hands down. Alright, Bill, what else?
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 2. It's another game where you race cars, and it's cool because you're racing across Italy, and you can jump off cliffs, and Foley bought me a car that looks like Jurassic Park Jeep. And then she bought another car that was like a big tank thing, and I ran over some people, and it was good, and it's just good because you can go off-road racing for no reason and just explore, and there's beautiful sunsets. And
it was really gorgeous.
And also that being an Xbox exclusive, that's one of the rare like exclusive next-generation games out there, regardless of its quality or not. But that just happened to be a really good game, just really fun to play. And
yeah, I
still say if you guys ever want to borrow my Xbox just to play that, you guys would be welcome to because it's a really fun game.
Yeah, I don't think literally any of the games I'm talking about are console or are exclusive to the PS4. So that's
exactly.
PS4 impacted me this year. One of my favorite games, speaking of very much so not exclusives, one of my favorite gaming experiences this year was Transistor, the latest game from Supergiant Studios, the folks who did Bastion. Once again, it's a game where necessarily the gameplay, much like in Bastion, wasn't necessarily my jam, but they won me over with storytelling, art, and music that I continue listening to this day. It's a good soundtrack to get me through a work day, and also by introducing the most important relationship in gaming this year, short of Ellie and Riley, which is Red and Sword Boyfriend.
What'd you think of the end?
To be terribly honest with you, okay, I should say, really...
Annie, the only reason I say that out loud, because you could ask that to anyone this year, and you're lucky if more than one... Yeah, go ahead.
I say that the story in Transistor was one of the things that swept me away, but really, I think they handled the story really poorly.
Did you beat the game?
Yeah.
Oh, my joke was like no one's ever beaten the game.
I beat it.
Because, like, even listening to all the end of your podcasts, even the people are like, I like Transistor, but I never got more than a couple hours into it. Oh, okay, you're the only person I've ever talked to or even heard of on a podcast, even on our own podcast, who has actually said, oh, I beat that game.
I beat Transistor. I can say that.
Wow, you get a fucking little real life achievement for that.
I really liked the characters and the place, and
yeah, no, it had great aesthetics.
I liked the moments in that game, but if you held a gun to my head, I could not describe you the story of that game. And
that's unfortunate.
Not that I don't pay attention, just that genuinely the way it was handled and the way the narrative was ladled out just did not. There wasn't enough there. There was a lot of confusion.
See, I don't want to make it seem like a bad game too, because when I first fired up, I was expecting more of an action game like Bastion, and I just got disappointed because I just wasn't in the mood for that kind of like game that it is, like this kind of like RTS kind of thing.
Right.
So I need to go back and pick it up again someday when I'm in the mood for that kind of thing. But I really liked what I saw, and it seemed like what they were doing was really interesting. Like how like you had all those different abilities that you can stack and combine with each other and stuff.
Yeah.
It seemed really deep and really cool, but yeah, it just kind of bounced off me at the time.
Are both examples of like someone who's making me eat my Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
I really don't want to play either of these types of games, but they're so beautiful and the aspects of them are so compelling. I played them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it enough to put it on my list. So, Bill, what else?
I play Shadow of Mordor. You play as Troy Baker running around Mordor stabbing people. And it's famous now because there's this thing where if you try to stab a guy and you don't kill him, he comes back and he's even angrier. And he'll suddenly show up while you're trying to kill another guy and then try to kill you. And lots of heads get cut off. And it's kind of dour and depressing, but it's really fun. And Shadow of Mordor is the best Assassin's Creed game of 2014. Ha ha ha. Trademark copyright Bill Mudgett Enterprises 2015.
That's pretty good.
It's good. Shadow of Mordor was pretty fun. I feel sad that it didn't appeal to you or anything like that. It was a good game though. I liked it. If you were in the mood for that kind of thing, it was fun. But yeah.
See, what's interesting is that game is kind of the opposite of Transistor, in that it's a sort of gameplay where abstractly I might enjoy it, but everything around it, all the trappings of it, was so unappealing to me. There's no fucking way.
It was all like boom, boom, boom.
And not even that. Here's the thing.
Super dour and
I hate Lord of the Rings bullshit.
I know, you know what? And I know a lot of people who actually dig Lord of the Rings hate that game because they kind of like, I guess they fuck with the lore too much or something like that. It did have an press X to kiss your wife button though,
which a lot of people slagged on because kissing should not be the same sort of mode of interacting as murder. Contextually, kissing and murder should not be the same.
Yeah, well, whatever. Who cares? Yeah.
There's something to be said about that, and there's also something to be said about telling that opinion to go fuck itself.
I still want to give thumbs up to Shadow of Mordor 2 for having that mode where they released this DLC later where you could play as kind of like one of the main female characters that you could unlock, that you could actually just play as default, like a skin for the main character, which is great. Female. I fucking hate females.
It's cool that it's free DLC, but yeah,
it's
skin.
Looks a little junky, but yeah, I know, yeah. It's still, I guess she's still voiced by Troy Baker too.
Yeah,
so just Troy Baker.
And all the cutscenes are all still what's his butt. So.
Yeah, exactly too. So anyway, yeah. So that's Shadow of Mordor.
Here is something that I have to put on my list of games that I enjoyed in 2014, even though it surprises the hell out of me. Yeah. Murdered Soul Suspect.
Yeah. So what was this again?
Murdered Soul Suspect is a game where you are a detective investigating your own murder. This was, I think, briefly a PS4 exclusive, and then was not. It came and went, and no one noticed, really. Murdered Soul Suspect is, I will be the first person to say, not a good game. The art direction is weird. The voice acting is competent, but sometimes strange. The gameplay is not actually super good. The puzzles are not always that great. But at the end of the day, it is a game where, for the most part, you are just doing an investigative stuff, and the idea of a lot of that stuff is really good. Murdered Soul Suspect is the sort of game that in 15 years I would want someone to remake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the sort of game that I would want to do well because I would like to play more games like that.
Wait, was this a PC game?
It came out for PS4, and I think later it was ported to PC.
Oh, okay.
But I played it on PS4, and I enjoyed it, but it's not a good game. Man, the protagonist is like the dumbest design. I have one of the dumber designs I've ever seen because you're like a grizzled detective. Oh my god, and your story is terrible. Oh, I forgot about this. You have all these tattoos, and every tattoo is about a part of your life. Like this tattoo of drug needles, but I did drugs. And this tattoo of a tombstone is about how my mom died. And this tattoo of jail bars are about how I went to jail. It's just like the worst. It's about
did the tattoos really start off on like the most remote part of his body, like crudely drawn, like this is the first day I went to daycare?
You see like these tattoos, like zoom in of these terrible, cheesy, shitty tattoos.
Welcome to video games.
It's just like it's the worst. It is the worst.
I don't know, Annie. That sounds pretty cool. It tells the life of his story.
But it's kind of great at the same time. I think it is a bad version of a game that I want to play.
Yeah. It's Hot Topic character building.
It's trying to riff off Heavy Rain pretty explicitly, and it's at the end of the day, I want to play more games like that, not less. It also gets credit for one of the dumber endings I've ever seen in a video game in a long time.
Is this out of alternate endings, or just the one ending is just really dumb?
I'm pretty sure there's just the one ending. I'm sure
what happens at the end?
Well, Bill, I'm not going to spoil it. You find out who murdered you.
In Heavy Rain, isn't the killer the fat guy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Spoilers for Heavy Rain, by the way, everybody.
Spoilers for Heavy Rain. The cop guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I still have your copy of that.
Hold on just a second, Bill.
Oh, no. Do you have to poop? Oh, I have to poop. Then again, I always have to poop. It's coming out of me. Out of my pores. Wait, Annie really just... Oh, I thought... I didn't have the picture screen up of what your video feed was, so all I heard you say was, you just said, hold on, Bill, I gotta go, and then just the door slam, and I thought you were just, like, leaving the podcast. It was cartoonily possible.
Murdered Soul Suspect is so bad, but kind of weirdly compelling.
You just had to go, yeah. You had to go have a moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I just had to close the door.
So what else?
What else? Bill, what else? I just said something on you.
Man, so Over the Garden Wall, gameplay was fucking terrible. It seemed to be mostly like this weird cutscene that kind of started and stopped in weird,
Bill,
like,
15 seconds. Why did you like Over the Garden Wall?
Over the Garden Wall, it was pretty, and it was cool, and there were songs, and there was a talking frog, and there were rock facts.
Yeah. Over the Garden Wall was one of the most unexpected delights.
Over the Garden Wall in 15 seconds without just sounding like you're crazy.
Yeah. It was an unexpected delight. It was beautiful and strange and surreal and perfectly autumnal, and it just hit the spot.
It looks like it's just going to be some Adventure Time, like, quirkiness for quirkiness' sake, but it actually turns out to be really nicely. And great great voice acting, like I said, great art and design and stuff but like
really good music.
Characters. And it's just a really great cartoon. Good fucking music, great songs. Like I'm gonna be watching that every November, first week of November from now on.
Absolutely, yeah. We watched it for Thanksgiving, and it will not be our last time watching it.
And it's got a singing frog. Who the voice of the singing frog is the guy who sang the Love Boat theme. That alone. Yeah, if you go back and look up that guy's credit. He sang Love Boat. Yeah, so.
That's worth the price of admission by itself.
Yeah.
Another gaming experience that I really enjoyed this year, I'm going to include them both together because they're both UbiArt. The UbiArt title initiative came out with Valiant Hearts and Child of Light. Two strange little games that were really flawed, but at the end of the day, a really enjoyable experience.
I'm honestly surprised you put Child of Light on there, that being a game written by Far Cry 3 scribe Jeffrey Yolahim.
Child of Light has some of the most annoying and relentlessly irritating writing I have ever seen in a video game. But everything else about it is delightful. Aesthetically, the gameplay is fun. There's a nice little gentle co-op element that was really enjoyable. Valiant Hearts is also kind of problematic in that it's a beautiful game. It has fun little puzzles, but ultimately it is kind of it's trying to be respectful and conscious of the events of World War I while making it into a cartoon puzzle game.
Did you beat the game, Valiant Hearts?
I did. I beat both those games.
I heard about what the ending is, because I got about 2/3 of the way through that game, but that game is, Valiant Hearts, way too fucking long, though. You kind of get the point of it after a while, after like the first 6 hours. But I heard about what the ending it is, and the ending actually sounds pretty fucked up, too. Child of Light, who the fuck knows? You probably end up trying to... Doesn't Child of Light also end just like Far Cry 3 does, where you get the choice to whether or not to kill or save all your best friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
The sex scene in Child of Light is weird. Fucked up, man. No,
Oh,
no,
man.
Valiant Hearts, it tries to have its cake and eat it too, and I don't think it succeeds in that regard. It's hard to be cute and quirky and charming and tell a story of death and, all
Yeah,
that sort of
there's
stuff.
some fucking tonal dissonance in Valiant Hearts,
Yes.
but yeah.
But again, they're both things that I hope they're. I haven't heard anything else from Ubisoft about it continuing this UbiArt engine experiment. I hope they keep doing it. I don't know if they will. They would have said something about it right now.
You know, I still
the,
think. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the inclination I get from it all is that those digital only releases were not successful enough to merit.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer. But you don't think they would have had to sell too much before they were profitable, because it's not like, video games are expensive. I'm sure they would have had to have made like at least probably like $250,000 or $500,000 off of any one of those releases to make it worthwhile.
Probably
But
more than that.
yeah, I know, probably more than that too. Yeah, but I still think Valiant Hearts is really interesting too, because the World War II is getting distant enough in the history where you've got entire generations of people growing up right now who know nothing about World War I or World War II.
Yeah.
Anything that still kind of like can educate people about World War I, because that's always been the least sexiest of those two wars to talk about. And now that it really is getting lost in the mist of time, it's really interesting to see a game that really goes out of its way to like not just educate you on the basics of World War, like this is how World War I started, but like just like the daily life of World War I and soldiers and nurses and stuff. That was really interesting, just from an educational perspective. I thought it was really
Man, I didn't put this on my list, but I will say it to kind of go with Valiant Hearts. Never Alone is
What the hell was Never Alone?
Was a game this year. It's Never Alone is a game that was developed by and is about First Nations peoples. I apologize. I can't remember.
It's the kids petting the wolf.
It's a fox, the snow fox.
Oh, really?
And I apologize. I'm showing my ignorance here. I don't know if they're Inuit or what exactly the culture that they're exploring.
They're First Nations.
But it's beautiful and it is enjoyable until abruptly it is not.
Oh, really?
It's a fun game, and it has a really fun co-op element, and I like that I like more marginalized voices having a chance. It's a game that's not dissimilar from, what is it, Papo.io that came out a couple of years ago, where I don't necessarily think it was entirely successful, but I'm really grateful that it existed, just to give a kind of different perspective and a different sort of voice in games.
So it's the newsroom of video games.
Bill, if I were going to compare Never Alone to any other piece of art, I'd absolutely go to the newsroom.
So when Never Alone gets its inevitable retail release, that's going to be the pull quote from Boy Howdy they use in the back of the box. Yeah,
that's
like
right
the newsroom.
Bill, what else?
What else? What did I say? Oh, Legend of Korra. God, do we even need to talk about Legend of Korra more than we already have?
We liked Legend of Korra.
Legend of Korra had its last two seasons aired within just a couple months of each other, and everyone seems to agree now the last two seasons of Legend of Korra totally justify watching the Legend of Korra. That show turned out to be really good. Even aside from all the shit about the ending aside, which everyone loved, but even that stuff, disregarding that stuff, yeah, the last two seasons were really fucking good. It was a great slice of like 20 episodes of cartoon television. It was really good times.
Some good shit in that shit.
What else?
Wasteland 2, another Kickstarter game that I backed and got to play this year. Wasteland was so buggy that I could not actually beat it. I managed to...
What, the original Wasteland?
Wasteland 2.
Yeah.
That's what I keep talking about, so I keep saying Wasteland 2. Wasteland 2 is so buggy that
I don't know, Wasteland, 2. Oh. Yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Wasteland 2, number 2. I managed to muscle through half the bugs, but the last battle of the game crashed every time I loaded it up.
Oh, really?
So I never got to finish it. I actually literally yesterday, a patch downloaded. I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's playable now.
I was going to say, because that was like months ago you were playing that thing.
Yeah. It is now playable. So Wasteland 2 is interesting. So the original Wasteland game is what pretty much they wanted to make another Wasteland, could not get the license, and instead made Fallout. Mm-hmm. So Wasteland is kind of like a more Western-themed Fallout, whereas Fallout tends to take its cues from 50s stuff. Mm-hmm. Wasteland is more Wild West stuff.
Well, who made this game?
It was In Exile Entertainment, which is a lot of dudes, former Interplay dudes.
So it's actually people who worked on the original games then.
And the main dude is actually the dude who developed the original Wasteland. So
they just brought everyone over from the old games except for their quality control people.
well, I did a big overarching game like that with all sorts of weird.
Oh, I know. But like when your last boss battle keeps on crashing, that's pretty rough.
But anyway, Wasteland 2 was an enjoyable experience, and if you are pining for an isometric RPG, it's not a bad way to go.
Okay.
It was interesting, like we've talked about in the past, and that my inclination was to approach it with the perspective much like I do other RPGs, which is I have a protagonist, and they are my lens, and it took me a long time to get used to the fact that Wasteland is about an ensemble. There is no lead, and any one of your ensemble can die.
That's pretty hardcore. I like the sound of that.
It's an intriguing game, and I do recommend it. And
is that on the Mac?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check that out sometime.
It was one of my.
I mean, you've always raved about the Wasteland games, and I love Fallout 3, but Fallout 3 was my first game of any of that kind of type of thing. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'd be curious to see if you actually liked it.
Who knows? But like, yeah, I mean, I didn't even like Far Cry, or not Far Cry 3. What the hell was the other?
Fallout.
What's that?
Fallout.
No, Fallout. What was the Fallout New Vegas? I couldn't even get into. Even though everyone seems to agree that that was better than Fallout 3.
It is better than Fallout.
But yeah. Hey, anyway, fucking friends show up in that shit. I was like, I don't want to play as fucking friends. God damn it.
Bill, what else?
What else? Clone Wars. Clone Wars did not debut in 2014. It did air its last season and did show up on Netflix for the first time in 2014 for a cartoon that seemed to be custom designed for me to hate it. It's a computer-generated cartoon based off the prequels that take place between the last two Star Wars movies, and the main character of which is this character they invented just for the show who doesn't even show up in the goddamn prequel movies. Essentially a character shoehorned into the shitty continuity that already exists. Clone Wars should have been fucking terrible. And by all rights, the Clone Wars movie that they showed in theaters, that was like the first couple episodes, that was fucking terrible. That was legitimately not good. But Clone Wars actually is, taken as a whole, God gets better, and as a whole is actually surprisingly fucking good. Everyone keeps on raving about that, but I'm only one of those voices, but I do agree that, like, Clone Wars is pretty fucking cool. Surprisingly cool, yes.
Speaking of things that are pretty fucking cool, as much as I enjoyed Wasteland 2, if I have to pick an isometric RPG that I enjoyed most this year, it was hands down Shadowrun Returns Dragonfall.
I just bought.
It is now a standalone title. It is on Mac, PC, and Linux. If you at all like old school CRPGs, I cannot recommend it highly enough. The world and characters of Shadowrun Returns Dragonfall is fantastic. The art direction is pretty dang good. The story is really enjoyable. It's just a great little experience. Go get it.
Yeah, that's what I say. Continuing about Clone Wars, Bill says. No, I was just kidding.
What else, Bill?
Okay, you got so quiet there. I thought maybe we had to continue. No, True Detective. True Detective was awesome. Again, it's another show everyone was raving about last fall, or last spring, whenever it came out. It's good. I seem to have liked the ending more than most other people did. I guess with, like, detective stuff, when you have a big mystery, the reveal's always going to be a huge point, and they did fuck up the ending. The reveal of who the bad guy was fucking stupid as shit. Yeah. But tonally, it was really cool. It's very prettily shot. The acting was really good. There's a central kind of twist to the story that happens about halfway through the show, and that's actually the highlight of the whole show. I would recommend if you watch True Detective, if you just watched, like, maybe episode 4 or 5 out of, I think there's only 8 episodes. Even if you if you ever watched the show, you would know what I'm talking about, Annie. Like the kind of like the mid-season kind of high point. Even if you just stopped watching after that, that would be almost kind of like an interesting like end of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really nice to put together. It actually kind of lived up to most of the hype. It was really cool. Yeah, and especially like, did you watch any of it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, especially like it's taking place in the Deep South. And being about masculinity and stuff like that. I don't know. And I'm not born in Texas. I spent a lot of my childhood in Texas, and I kind of like, I don't know, it kind of dredged up some gummy feelings in me that I was like, kind of like, this is kind of recognizable place and recognizable
Yeah.
character archetypes and stuff like that. Aside from even like kind of like the noirish like mystery stuff, kind of the Southern Gothic kind of thing, kind of was like, this is kind of interesting. I liked it. So I don't know. I had a soft spot for that TV show, even though I can admit it is far from perfect. But yeah, it was actually I did like it as much as a lot of the other people seem to.
That's awesome. Also this year, a game I played just to go totally in the opposite direction from True Detective. Coming out on top, the gay visual novel that I backed on Kickstarter came out recently. I know I've talked about it recently on the podcast. I won't go into it too much depth, but I will say it's kind of the visual novel that I've always wanted to play. It is good humor, good characters. It is an adult visual novel. I'll just
terrible fucking title though.
Who are inclined to go investigate it, but it's really charming and it's kind of what I want all visual novels to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw NeoGAF actually just had a thread on there too, which I'm kind of surprised to see a message board like NeoGAF, a bunch of people raving about the game.
Now you go, Bill.
Oh, okay. I don't know. What's my thing? Inside Llewyn Davis / Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm kind of lumping these together because I saw both these movies on a double feature. Well, a little self-made double feature last spring.
Sure.
And they're both kind of morose, good winter movies to watch.
I am shocked that I liked Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
What do you think?
I fucking hate Wes Anderson movies. I hate his affected bullshit. The only one that I like is Rushmore.
Yeah, and Rushmore's the shit.
All his other movies
Wes Anderson movie.
Can sit on a spike. But I loved Grand Budapest Hotel.
What did you like? Okay, now this is an Annie pick more than it's a Bill pick. What did you actually like about that?
I liked the music. I liked the casting. I liked the sense of humor. I liked this. I think this was one where I struggle with a lot of his movies because the relationship between humor and melancholy, I feel, is not always as closely linked as it could be. Mm-hmm. As someone who experiences depression and has dealt with it, diagnosed since I was 12, I'm very keenly aware of the relationship between humor and depression, and I feel like the way he has handled those things in his movie have been kind of schizophrenic to me, and they don't necessarily feel of the same cloth as much as it does in real life. And Grand Budapest Hotel, I think, really managed to balance that with aesthetics that were cartoonish yet felt very internally consistent, in a world that felt very internally consistent, in a world that didn't feel like it was too impossible. Also, I do like that the framing device is literally a woman reading a book that is a person recounting someone else's story. Like that, having that.
Yeah, it's a weird nested narrative. Yeah.
That then therefore gives the artificialness and internal consistency and an internal expectation.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. It kind of like it kind of gives a reason as to why the movie's so kind of screwed up.
Exactly. That's why everything is so heightened and strange. And
yeah, because it's a story is being told from someone. Yeah, it's kind of like what's that party game where you yell in someone's ear and say, "Hey,
telephone."
Fuck it. Yeah. And the person says, "Hey, fuck you," and you say, "No, that's not right."
That weird heightened aesthetic really, really worked for me. So this was the year that I actually liked a Wes Anderson movie, which I thought was impossible.
Have you not seen Inside Llewyn Davis?
No, I have not.
It's got an orange kitten in it. And it's one of the starring characters. You should fucking love it.
That's what you pitch me on every time we talk about it.
It's a cute cat, too. Technically, it's two cats. But it's super goddamn cute. I like Inside Llewyn Davis because it's great. Because if you're a self-loathing freelance artist like me, you'll probably watch that movie and go, yeah, I can recognize some of myself in that.
Yeah.
It's also got the villain of the new Star Wars movie as the funniest fucking character ever.
The only part of that movie I have seen is the clip of them doing the song.
Yeah!
That's the only part of the movie I've seen.
Space. Outer
space. That's all I've seen. I think I got everything I need from Inside Llewyn Davis.
Really? I mean, that is the highlight of the goddamn movie for me. I mean, that has nothing to do with the plot of the rest of the movie, but that's fucking hilarious.
I'm still going on games. Another
seriously,
game I've talked about at length, and I will not spend any more time here talking about, is Dragon Age Inquisition. Mm-hmm. I think Dragon Age Inquisition was, in a lot of ways, them trying to make up for all the criticisms of Dragon Age 2 and, to some extent, Dragon Age Origins.
Yeah, in a way that you weren't really down with at first.
I'm still, to be honest with you, not. the game that it is not necessarily the game I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I still really enjoyed the hell out of it, and am enjoying it even more the second time through, especially now that I've gotten used to the systems. And one of my favorite things about Dragon Age Inquisition, now that I think about it, and what I would highly recommend to anyone approaching it the first time, is start by playing the multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Just because what I think is interesting is the multiplayer functions
You
really
just want
well
people
as
to play
kind of
multiplayer with.
is one of the things I like about it is that it functions as a trial for all the various character classes.
Oh,
You can
okay.
then do in-game. I never would
Oh,
have
that's an
thought
interesting idea. Yeah, okay.
I never would have thought that I would enjoy playing a mage as much as I did had I not been forced to play it by the nature of the Dragon Age multiplayer. So, Dragon Age Inquisition, I like.
I liked the Kingdom of Dreams and Madness.
Was this the Miyazaki documentary?
This was now something going to go slow motion. Yeah, no, Kingdom of Dreams and Madness was that's the Studio Ghibli documentary that came out. Well, I first saw it back in like May, but it just finally got a legal release here in the States just last month. I know it's available to rent on iTunes. I don't know if you could buy it anywhere. iTunes may be the only way you could actually legally just check it out, but I don't know. I don't think there's been a retail release, and I don't think. You may only be able to rent it from iTunes, but not buy it. But it is super goddamn cool. I freaked out about it on the podcast multiple times before, but yeah, it is just an hour and a half, just fly in the wall, just slice of life documentary, just depicting Miyazaki, just directing his last feature film at Studio Ghibli. And so, because it's just kind of fly on the wall stuff, you don't have a narrator kind of describing a lot of stuff. It can be a little slow and boring if you're not really into Studio Ghibli stuff, because a lot of it is just like, here's 30 seconds of just relatively silent footage of a bunch of like artists at Studio Ghibli just drawing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Here's just some footage of the studio cat just sleeping on a bench.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still just, if you ever wanted to see what the inner workings of Studio Ghibli was like. It's a really good movie to check out. And it's interesting, too, because the character they actually tend to talk to the most is not actually Miyazaki, but it's his producer. And he's the producer who's in charge of all the movies at Studio Ghibli, not just the Miyazaki ones. And seeing him having to wrestle with both Miyazaki and the other big director that they have there, and also trying to set up like voice acting talent to come in and audition for stuff, and trying to wrestle with like the press and media and stuff. That I thought that was actually more interesting than even the Miyazaki specific stuff. But yeah, it's a really nice documentary. Like I said, a little slow, a little pokey, but really pretty. And just it's a really great window into not just that studio, but just kind of like the animation business in general.
Yeah, and especially in that moment in time.
Exactly. Yeah.
This year, I think we saw a release of 2 episodes of Kentucky Route Zero, which continues to be a strange and delightful little game.
Yeah, that is not finished yet, huh?
No, there are 2 more episodes yet to come.
Yeah,
it's a game that is easy to make fun of. It's a game that is easy to point at and call pretentious and all these other things, but ultimately it is a game about moments, and it is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. I love the music. I love the aesthetics of it. And it is a lot of strange little moments that I have enjoyed so much. I hold that game close to my heart.
I agree. Thumbs up. Snapping my fingers.
What you got, Bill?
I got one last thing, because you liked so much more stuff in 2014 than I did. Bold Riley. This is a comic done by, I can't even say friend of the podcast, because I don't know if she even knows we exist, but Leah Wethington, who's a local Portland cartoonist. I have read her stuff before, and I'd read Bold Riley before, but I'm working with her on I'm drawing a map of the Bold Riley world for one of her comics. And so that was instigation for me to go back and read all of the Bold Riley stuff in one big go, and I really love the goddamn Bold Riley series. It's a self-published comic series by Leah Wethington. She won a Stumptown Award for writing for the series a couple years ago, and it is a really great little series about this. It takes place in kind of like this fantasy land it's kind of a mixture of kind of like, it's mostly kind of like this like fantasy India. With some other like Southeast Asian cultures and stuff like that. And it's all about this princess who rejects her ownership of the throne, or rejects her claim to the throne, and goes off on a whole bunch of adventures all throughout her kingdom, essentially. And it's like every issue is almost like a little fable about how she'll like get involved with like a talking bird and gets tricked into fighting like a giant like demon in some kind of temple or or falls in love with like this tree goddess. And it's kind of cool too, because Bold Riley, she is super badass. She's bi, so she has lots of crazy, sexy adventures with both the women and dudes. It's just really nice. It's a great, just little self-published adventure comic.
Yeah.
The artwork kind of flips back and forth because she hires a different artist for every issue. So not every the artwork for every issue may not be to your liking if you ever check it out, but it's still just the writing I love and just that world, and it's just good world building, great character, and it's one of those things where I hate to boil it down to like I like it just because it's a strong female character, but
Yeah.
it's a nice punchy adventure story that just happens to star a really cool lady. So
That's pretty rad.
that's a good series. The Adventures of Bold Riley.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
To go on the fan service end of the spectrum,
Oh, no.
there was one bit of fan service that was also another Kickstarter thing that came to fruition this year. The Veronica Mars movie came out. I enjoyed the series. I was a fan. It catered to me directly, explicitly, and implicitly, and I enjoyed being catered to. Also, I really didn't watch much in the way of movies this year, but other than Grand Budapest Hotel, the best times I had in theaters were 2 films. The Lego Movie came out this year and was an unexpected delight.
That was fucking great.
Bill had to keep hitting me on the head to go see it. Y'all heard it on this podcast. Bill relentlessly.
It's been really.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna watch that movie.
I would assume if you being like the Lego fiend that you would have been the first person. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Bill, it came out before I got into Lego.
Oh, really?
Remember? Wait, it should be.
Maybe. Has it been less than a year?
Yeah, I really
Oh, okay.
I got that Wolfpack tracker on my birthday.
Granted, you're not into Lego as much as you're just into Benton, your Lego town.
This was pre-Benton, Bill.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And I was a big Lego fan in my youth, so
That was also
the
one of
Lego
the
movie,
prettiest movies too.
Yeah, that movie is uncommonly beautiful. It is really funny, genuinely funny. It's actually pretty well done and everything. The way it kind of, I know Bill has been openly critical of its the way it kind of plays with the hero narrative, where there's a really talented woman and then there's a man who comes in and is actual hero. But I like the way it actually plays with that.
Yeah, I mean, I acknowledge it lampshades it at least, so it's not just yeah.
And also Chris Miller and Phil Lord, the dudes who did that movie, who also did the unexpectedly fantastic Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the cult favorite Clone High, and though I've not seen them, the 21 Jump Street movies, and they later have a comedy series coming on Fox called Last Man on Earth, starring Will Forte, where he is the last man on Earth.
We're gonna be talking about that a little bit later.
Those guys continue to be the most unexpected creators in Hollywood, and I'm always curious to see what they come up with.
Can you still not buy Clone High legally here in the States? Is that not a
There's a
thing?
DVD release.
Is there a DVD release? Okay, I think you don't get it from Canada or something like that. But yeah, if anyone listening to this likes the Lego Movie, but you have not seen Clone High, which is a cartoon series by the same dudes who made the Lego Movie, go check out Clone High. They flipped the bitch.
It's some good shit, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
The other movie that I really enjoyed in theaters this year, and I was the only one who watched it, was in fact The Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt.
What, you were the only person to go see it in theaters?
You and I, Bill, were the only people to go see it in theaters.
I never saw it in theaters. I had to wait till it was on video.
Oh, that's right, you never.
Yeah, because I was all like,
Everyone said. Everyone said fucking Tom Cruise.
I was totally. I was the person who they should have been marketing to, because I would have loved the movie if I'd seen it in theaters, and it turns out it's actually good. And I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan. I was like, oh, that Tom Cruise is hilarious in that, because he gets murdered for 15 straight minutes in that movie.
I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan. That movie uses Tom Cruise to great effect.
Yeah!
It's really nicely conscious of other sci-fi tropes and things like that. Emily Blunt is amazing in it. It's a really fun movie.
It is worth that movie just to see that one shot of her doing push-ups and looking up Tom Cruise. That is like the fucking money shot in that goddamn movie.
And just to wrap things up, the 3 TV sort of things that I really enjoyed this year that Bill didn't touch on. This year was the release of Broad City on Comedy Central, which is single-handedly one of my favorite goddamn comedy shows. I'm not a fan of pot humor, and I really struggle.
Broad City's pretty goddamn funny, though, yeah.
I really struggle with depictions of young, idiot white women who don't know what they're doing with themselves for obvious reasons, but Broad City is amazing and is guaranteed to make me laugh every time.
I love What's-Her-Face. The one half is fun, but the other one's fucking, oh my god.
Alana is, my friend of the podcast, Brenna Zidane, always says that she is the the first female Bill Murray we've gotten in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And
If you really, like, if they like with Paul Feig's Ghostbusters movie, if it's going to be a small hate crime if she doesn't play. If there's going to be a Bill Murray type in that movie and she doesn't play that character, then that's like, why are you even making Ghostbusters?
Broad City is available free for Amazon Prime users here in the U.S. I cannot recommend it highly enough. The finale of that episode is amazing, and there's an episode where she picks up a UPS package from her neighbor that is one of my favorite episodes of TV.
Yeah, that's the episode you introduced me to that show with, yeah.
Also, this year, I discovered Kroll Show, and they released their second season, which I think really brings it to a peak. Fucking love Kroll Show. Nick Kroll plays my least favorite character on The League, and he is an unexpectedly amazing impressionist.
People who don't know Nick Kroll is, Annie had to describe this to me a couple times. Nick Kroll is... was it the douche on Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, he's the douche on Parks and Rec. He is currently dating Amy Poehler. He's Amy Poehler's significant other.
I'm kind of like, oh god.
He's also apparently the son of one of the wealthiest people on Earth.
What? Really?
Yeah. So
good for Amy Poehler then. She could just keep on writing comedies and filming them on her own moon base.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
But no.
Okay, so who's the guy? Like, who's the rich? Like, is he like fucking Saudi Arabian?
His father is a dude named Kroll, who's I don't fucking.
Okay, I'm googling Rich Kroll.
I've given you all the information I have. Anyway, Kroll Show is a lot. To sum it up succinctly, it is a spoof of reality television, and the characters and editing you see in reality television, the characters are spot on. The way it is shot is spot on, much in a way is similar to Key and Peele, and that half the joke in Key and Peele is that visually it looks like that which is spoofing. Kroll Show takes that to the next level. Also, Jimmy Slate is on it and is amazing.
Yeah. Nick Kroll, whenever I see him, he looks like someone who's just eaten a human fart. He has a look on his face that's always like, eh.
I am shocked that I love Kroll Show because it is dumb, sometimes dumb boy humor, but I fucking love it.
I didn't realize he was one of the writers on Chappelle's Show, which that right there is that's a big deal. Yeah.
Fucking love Kroll Show. Finally, I'm going to call this TV show, even though it is not the last Kickstarter thing that came up to fruition this year, is Being Puppy Cat, which has been fantastic and a delight. If you've not partaken in Being Puppy Cat, I highly recommend it. It's a riff on anime kind of magic girl stuff, and I have never identified with a cartoon character the way I identify with Bee.
Being Puppy Cat's pretty goddamn fantastic.
So that was 2014.
They put out that one new episode, right?
They have had 2 episodes out, my friend. I think they're up to 4.
Oh shit! I gotta go check up on that because I only saw like the first 1 or 2 they put out.
Yeah, they released 2 at one go. So.
My guts.
Anyway, so that was 2014. Now allow us to look forward. Bill, let's
Annie, this is the part where I grab you forcibly by the head and I say, "Hey, Annie, what you're looking at right now is the past," and then I revolve. Oh, that's Annie's gas pains, and I revolve her head 180 degrees and say, "Annie, this is the future. We must talk about what we see."
Phil, what are you looking forward to in 2015?
Should we just like wrap this out? What's the old song that's like? Senegate, Abada, Ubada. There's an old. We didn't start the fire. Should we just chant out everything on our list, just
Bill,
like a rap like that?
What are you looking forward to in 2015? I heard there's going to be a new Star War.
A what?
A Star War.
Where?
The Force is going to awaken, apparently.
Wait, really? This is the first thing I've heard about. Oh my god.
I'm sure that we're the only podcast on Earth discussing that we're looking forward to a new Star War.
Yeah. So are you really looking forward to this? I don't know if you I would have talked about it, but I don't know if you were like emotionally invested or if you're just kind of like, no, it might be kind of cool, but
my heart was broken by the prequels along with everyone else's, but I'm ready to enjoy a Star Wars.
Yeah, no, okay. I don't want to like just you're a girl, so you probably not looking forward to Star Wars like I am. I just didn't know. I know you enjoy Star Wars movies. I just didn't know if you really cared that much about this movie.
I care enough that I don't want to be spoiled by stuff. I care enough to exclude myself from every Star Wars spoiler gospel. I think
this is like an Into the Woods thing for me too, where I'm like I'm morbidly curious, and like it could be terrible, and even if it isn't terrible, I still have the original thing there. It's not going to spoil what already exists. But it would be so great if this turns out good that I'm like. But I'm trying to keep myself from getting too emotionally invested in this. But still, it's new Star Wars.
See, my thing, at the end of the day, I just want to have a Star Wars film where I have fun. That's what I'm asking of the Star Wars.
That's what I'm kind of worried about, because we need at least one more fun Star Wars movie, like the original Star Wars movie, that isn't totally burdened down by the weight of, like, prophecies and like, oh my god, the bad guys are winning and this and like, yeah, I would love like one more at least big dump romp.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that's actually what it turns out to be. I don't know. If you've got like fucking the fucking Gollum going around the darkness and the light, it doesn't necessarily seem like a romp, but we'll see what happens. Speaking of fun romps.
Yeah, speaking of fun romps, Mad Max comes out. Mad Max Fury Road. I genuinely don't see how the movie can be as fun as the trailer.
No, this is the new Pootie Tang.
The trailer.
I don't know if I'm going to see the movie because the trailer was so great.
I feel like I owe George Miller $15 just for that trailer.
Yeah. It is kind of one of those things where watching the movie now, I'm already half expecting to go like, oh yeah, I remember, oh this is from the trailer, or like while watching, getting towards the end of the movie going like, okay, what from the trailer have we not seen yet? Oh, that's right, a big CGI thunderstorm.
All I need is Tom Hardy to get a little beat up with that haircut and that beard, and then I'm just going to pause the movie and masturbate.
You know what, I didn't notice that Mr. F has a robot arm.
Man, it makes me sad because apparently Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron hated each other during that movie and had a miserable time.
Supposedly Tom Hardy has a lot of hard times with a lot of other... Like, I don't think I've heard of him being in a movie where he did not have a hard time with the other person. It sounds like he's a really moody, sullen guy, and that throws a lot of other people off.
It's one of those things, like, knowing how much Catherine Ross hated Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Where it's kind of like...
Well, supposedly he gets really moody because if he goes for too long without being around puppies,
that's it.
He gets really sullen and like.
Also, next year, Tomorrowland is released. Brad Bird's weird Disney Andrew Ryan movie with George Clooney.
Yeah, which everyone's already saying is like just his version of BioShock, which kind of makes sense because Brad Bird's whole thing is let special people be special. But yeah, it could be cool. And again, it's a big budget blockbuster movie that's starring a lady.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
And
I saw this week Duncan Jones, he was ranting on Twitter about how he was trying to get some kind of project started off the ground starring with a female lead. I don't know if he was talking about was it Hush? Not Hush. What was
his thing about the Berlin bouncer that was inspired by...
Yeah, the Berlin, about... Oh, I forgot what the fuck it was called, but like he was talking about it for the longest time, like... Yeah, which they like whatever project. Well, I don't know. Anyway, he was talking about how whatever project it was, he was trying to get a new movie off the ground starring with a female lead, and he could not. And he was like lamenting the fact that Duncan Jones, he's a pretty popular director now. You think he would have enough clout to even get a relatively medium-sized movie with a female lead made, but even he couldn't do it. So that's anyway. But yeah, but Tomorrowland, hey, we'll see what happens. It does have George Clooney, which I guess kind of counteracts the fact that you got a female lead, but it's like, hey, it's George Clooney.
There are 2 new Pixar movies on their way. Wait, 2 new movies in 2015?
Yeah, I forgot that there's actually 2, and they're both new original movies and not sequels.
Because I know there's the emotion-y movie. What is it called? Inside Out. What's the other Pixar movie?
And the second one is... I can't think of a good joke. The second one is The Good Dinosaur.
Have we seen anything from The Good Dinosaur?
They just released a logo this week, which is just on white text on a black background. It just says The Good Dinosaur. It's not like there's even a picture of a dinosaur on it or anything like that. Supposedly The Good Dinosaur is about a kid who ends up adopting a dinosaur. That's all we know about the plot. This is one of those movies that Pixar has been working on forever, and I think may have changed directors a couple times.
Yeah.
Inside Out is by Pete Docter, who he hasn't done much. He only made Monsters Incorporated and Up, which were 2 of the more depressing, unfunny Pixar movies.
It's true.
So Inside Out might be some sad-ass, sappy bullshit, I think, maybe. Pete Docter, man, if he said, hey, Bill, I'm going to put this gerbil in your butt, I'd be like, you know what, most people I wouldn't allow this, but you made Monsters Incorporated and Up. You get to do whatever the fuck you want to do with it, my boy.
You can put whatever you want wherever
in my
you
butt.
want.
That's going on the back of Inside Out's DVD.
Oh, dear Lord.
Okay. He did the voice. I think he was the one who did the voice of Doug. Even if he only did the voice of Doug, man, we just lost 2 viewers. Oh.
He did not. He did do a voice it up, but he voiced Campmaster Strouch, everyone's favorite.
Oh wow, yeah, I've got 3 of those action figures.
So, keep it clippy. Bill, next year, did you know that Chappie comes out? The next movie?
Chappie, I don't know. I still haven't seen Neil Blomkamp's other movie, but hey, it's another Neil Blomkamp movie. I don't know.
Yeah, what was the name of Neil Blomkamp's last movie? Was it, like, fucking...
Wait, what?
Elysium.
Elysium, yeah, I mentioned that before, and I still haven't seen that because it looks so stupid. And again, Chappie does have, like, a rapping robot that's...
It is a robot with bunny ears. Oh, man.
What's that?
It's got a robot with bunny ears.
I know. It kind of looks like if Optimus Prime had a screwed up kid. That's kind of what Chappie looks like.
Yup.
Optimus Prime, he got ears, right?
Yes, he does, Bill.
That's what I'm saying.
Next year, the movie I'm actually really excited about, Hateful Eight, which will be Tarantino's next Western.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to do just another goddamn women revenge movie, just because I find those so emotionally satisfying.
You know what? They're crazy. If you know how they send out little packages to movie reviewers saying, "Hey, go see our movie." If they do not put out an Hateful Eight ball that you shake that just says "fuck you."
Oh, there you go, Bill.
Just a picture of just angry Bruce Dern.
Okay, we're at 2.5 hours, so we're gonna be. I
know, but Hateful Eight, yeah, it has a crazy cast. It's got a Hudsucker Proxy in it, which I think that is interesting because Hudsucker Proxy hasn't been anything in a million years. Yeah, so you got stuff. It's more cowboy western shit. He's totally on this western kit.
I'm down. I really want a Lady Vengeance cowboy movie.
Yeah, and period movies seem to be where Quentin Tarantino seems to do his best work because like all of his period stuff seems to be really fucking awesome so far. So we'll see what happens.
Parks and Rec's having a finale. Mm-hmm. Which will make me cry like a little baby.
Yeah, did you see, like, they're not even debuting it along with all the other shows coming back? Like, they've just, like, consigned it to, like, middle of February, and they're just going to burn off all the episodes in a row, but, like, I didn't realize this was a big deal, but I saw, like, the people were just talking about whatever time of the year that they're going to air. It's supposed to start off next month. But supposedly February is where networks tend to like unload like their unwanted stuff. So sounds like they're just kind of dumping Parks and Recreation. Supposedly, I have no idea what about the inner workings of the television industry, but it sounds like this is kind of being we're just gonna get rid of this.
Community is coming back.
Yeah, on Yahoo. Speaking of getting rid of shit that no one wants, it's coming back on Yahoo. Which, God knows, Community can be kind of funny. Community can also be terrible, and Yahoo is nothing but terrible. Not to say it's not like all the characters are suddenly going to be working at Yahoo, telling you about how great Yahoo actually, man. You know what? If they got a job all working at Yahoo Answers, they should have
just raising him a bit bam thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. And actually, the McElroy brothers are writing the new season of Community. But yeah, what else?
A new show will be coming from Tina Fey.
Yeah, Tina Fey. More specifically, it's Tina Fey and the person who helped co-create 30 Rock. They're working on a new show. We talked about this last week, right?
I think we did.
Yeah, and so it sounds like a little bit of a 30 Rock setup too, where it's about this white girl in New York just doing New York stuff. Except instead of it being Tina Fey this time, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's
Ellie Kemper.
Yeah, it's the secretary from The Office, and she is playing a lady who grew up inside a cult, who has escaped that cult and moved to New York City.
That's a really good potential setup.
Yeah, I know. When I first heard it was just Ellie Kemper in New York, I'm like, well, that's okay. But I find out she grew up in a cult.
That's a good comic potential right there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but like it should be chuckle-ish. We'll see what happens.
In the news of other unexpected TV shows, Better Call Saul will be launching.
Yeah, there's gonna be. It sounds like such a stupid show that I'm kind of worried that there may be too many expectations layered on the show. I mean, it's a spinoff from Breaking Bad. Breaking
Bad was created by Vince Gilligan, who was a showrunner for The X-Files, and you know what? He decided that a really good idea would be to stop working in The X-Files and make a little spin-off of it called The Lone Gunman. So
yeah, that was uniformly terrible, right?
That's the pedigree we're talking about here, so I'm looking forward to
it. Now you phrase it that way, now I feel bad for even putting it on the list. But it's got cool. I mean, the character Saul was cool.
I'm intrigued.
At least this is a spinoff involving a fun character. Did you ever see much Breaking Bad?
I've never and will never watch Breaking Bad.
Okay, so I don't know if you're even familiar with the character that...
Well, I will say this. The thing about X-Files and The Lone Gunman is that one of the reasons why, I mean, it was not a very good show, but it was so totally different from the X-Files. It was such a different show from the X-Files. Yeah. I can't help but think of what will The Lone Gunman of Breaking Bad be?
Well, Breaking Bad was already kind of goofy enough that like this would seem to be kind of like a more comedic thing. Yeah, it's a TV show starring Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
But it's still like they have some of the cast members from Breaking Bad coming back, like his henchman Mike, who is played. Oh man, you haven't seen Community, so I don't know if you've ever seen the guy who. So his henchman is what's his name's dad from Parks and Recreation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the old bald dude.
Dad.
Yeah, and he's a character that everyone loved from Breaking Bad because this is a prequel. Spoilers, that character does not survive very long into Breaking Bad, but now, because of the prequel, this kind of shows how these characters met. We'll see. It could be terrible, who knows, but it should at least be kind of funny, maybe, kind of, sort of. Who knows, we'll see. So, yeah, it's Better Call Saul.
Woof.
Yeah, woof. Shut up.
As we mentioned, Lord Miller's Last Man on Earth will be coming out. That will be intriguing. I'm just curious to see how the hell you make a show about the last human being on Earth.
Yeah, especially I saw who's starring in that?
It's Will Forte.
Yeah, and he's the guy who voiced Lincoln on Clone High, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my only reference for that guy.
He played Jenna Maroney's lover and impersonator on 30 Rock.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. So yeah, that should be that'll at least be interesting to see what that turns out to be, even if it's not like the best thing ever made. But yeah,
whenever those two are involved in a production, it's usually worth watching at least once. Like
supposedly, I think
created Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a darn fine show.
Oh man, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Chelsea Peretti. Oh, my housemates and I were freaking out about Chelsea Peretti the other night.
She's freakatable.
We were like trying to explain to them we were trying to explain to a friend who Chelsea Peretti was and her style of comedy, and just like
all the dumb Star Wars stuff Marvel will be publishing and reprinting.
Oh yeah, this is more specific Bill stuff that Bill's looking forward to in the future. But yeah, just now that Marvel has the Star Wars license again, it'll be interesting to see like what kind of stuff they may be reprinting from the Marvel years versus like what kind of new dumb stuff they may be coming out with this year. That's no guarantee that any of that stuff is going to be any good, but this will be just interesting to see what they can crank out, because Marvel has such a weird history with Star Wars to begin with. It's like, even if from a reprinting perspective, they have so much dumb shit that they could dredge up. I'm almost surely will dredge up, just for that. You got to get that cash in money.
Yeah.
That quick cash in.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they do with the kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
No, go ahead.
There will be a slew of video games coming out next year, and we'll just rattle them off here real quick. We're gonna have Broken Age Part 2. We're gonna have Bloodborne. Bloodborne. Excuse me. Bloodborne is
Is that what happens when you're giving birth so fast the baby scorches your cooch on the way out?
That is it's cooch scorch. That's correct.
It fires out like a Lego rocket.
Uncharted 4 will be coming out.
I know, I had to go back and put Uncharted 4 here. I totally forgot Uncharted 4 is coming out this year.
It'll probably be like December. If it does not get pushed back out to 2016, I will leave my house.
How is that going to get pushed back? It's been like 8 years since the last Uncharted
game. You are so funny, Bill. Left Behind came out in 2014.
Annie. Let's rewind the clock about a year and a half. A couple months before these consoles launched, I was like, man, they're crazy if they don't put out a next generation version of Last of Us. And you're like, you're crazy. They don't have enough time or money to be putting out a next generation console. They got to be working on Uncharted 4. What happened? A year later, guess what you could buy on PlayStation 4? Last of Us. We're going to get Uncharted 4 this year. I can guarantee it. Sony will, just to have that exclusive for this Christmas, Sony will hire all of China to work on the game. It'll be badly coded.
Why I don't want to have.
I'm just saying, it's going to happen. That game will come out this year. It may be mostly like an iPhone game.
With all of the creative and personnel overhaul and disruption that have happened at Naughty Dog, the best thing that could happen to that game would be pushed out to 2016.
Well, did you see they're hiring Troy Baker to do all the voices in the game now, right?
Okay, I'm gonna keep this snappy.
Troy Baker does a good Nolan North.
The Witcher 3 comes out, which has 2 ladies in it, and therefore I'm twice as interested as I was before.
It has 2 ladies? What?
It does. You should look it up. Yoshi's Woolly World
Wait,
comes
what
out,
do you mean
which
it has
is
2
cute as
ladies?
hell.
Most games that live at least have 2 ladies.
We're gonna finish this, so help me God. The claymation Kirby game's coming out.
No. What? Okay, Witcher 3 has 2 ladies. Yoshi's Woolly World, which everything looks like it's made out of knitted yarn, looks beautiful. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It looks really cute. There's a claymation Kirby game coming out.
Which everything looks like it was made out of clay. Okay, that's good.
Zelda Wii U, which looks beautiful.
Yeah, who knows what that's going to be. It sounds like Skyrim Light, but who knows.
Yeah. No Man's Sky is coming out. Mighty Number 9. Mario Maker, which looks cute as hell.
Yeah! No one's going to buy a Wii U for it, but it's going to be existing.
That's right. More Banner Saga.
Yeah, they haven't said when that's coming out, right?
It's going to launch on PS4 too, so I'm not sure exactly.
Man, I just bought that for the... Man, I should still wait for that to come out on PS4.
Banner Saga. I love that shit.
Like
there'll be a Kickstarter for more Shadowrun Returns, which I'm really excited about.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Set in Hong Kong. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, I thought that was already Kickstarted and that was going to come out this year. I didn't realize they were going to have a Kickstarter this year. Because, yeah, if they're just doing a Kickstarter this year, it's going to be a while before we actually see that.
Yes, but I'm still looking forward to it.
Okay.
Also, this year actually, next week, I think, there's going to be the Agent Carter series, which is the spin-off of Captain America, starring that badass Agent Carter lady.
I've never seen the first movie, but I hear she's pretty badass.
She's kind of great. And finally, what I'm most looking forward to in 2015 is finally...
Haley Atwell. Her name's Haley Atwell.
That's true.
Elmo?
Finally, next year, in 2015, we are getting the release, as Bill teased earlier, of Carol, which is the movie adaptation of The Price of Salt, one of the first, arguably the first lesbian novel to have a happy ending.
The first Korosami.
The first Korosami.
Wait, so this is a sequel?
A sequel to what?
To Price of Salt.
No, it is a movie adaptation of a book called...
Why is it called Carol?
Because Price of Salt is a weird title.
Carol is even weirder.
Carol, it's the name of a character in it.
But you call it, like, what
Bill,
if
have you heard this crazy movie out called
6,
Annie?
Luke.
Guess why it's called Annie, Bill? It's going to blow your mind.
Carol?
Bill,
You should have better named
Into the Woods.
Carol. This is
That's
like
why it's called Into the
grandma's
Woods,
name.
Bill.
Wow. Okay. They don't want money then,
Bill,
I guess.
what would you... How about we name it Queen Goyle's Kiss in the 50s?
At least the Price of Salt.
Everybody
you're
come
sitting
see
there
Queen of
wondering,
50s Goyle.
what is the Price of Salt? $5.99? Carol. It's just like, okay, it's Grandma, the movie.
It has Cate Blanchett as a woman, a divorced woman in the 50s who starts a relationship with Rooney Mara, who plays a young woman in New York City. It's a good book, and I'm really curious
I
to
did
see
see a preview of this. Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know why I didn't freak out about the title then, but now. Okay.
Carol, fuck you.
Carol!
Anyway.
You know, I think that's the mom's name on the Brady Bunch. And I think that's why I'm just like, Carol.
That's all it takes for
It sounds like
Bill.
someone's mom's name in the 70s.
Real quick, friend of the podcast, Jacob, emailed us his top 10 from last year. The things we did not touch on that he did was Dark Souls 2, which I actually think he did touch on. Maybe not. He really liked
Dark Souls 2 is pretty good.
He really liked Bayonetta 2.
Are we going to review his list?
Well, I'm touching on the things he talked about that we did not.
Okay.
This was my context for it. Amnesia, Machine for Pigs, which I actually got in a humble bundle and will never play.
Yeah, no, seriously. And supposedly that's actually a bad sequel, too.
He said he liked it because he said it's game better at being Bioshock than Bioshock is.
Ah, okay.
He says it manages to be horrifying and thought-provoking at once. Legend of Grimrock 2, a game I have barely heard of.
It's a good Transformers game.
Exactly.
Is Grimrock not one of the dinosaur robots, Dinobots?
I don't know, but he says it's an almost perfect amalgamation of Portal-style puzzles and RPG mechanics.
Ah, okay.
Persona Q, which a lot of people on my friends list have been freaking out about.
Yeah. You know what? I still need to get my copy of Persona back from you, too, sometime.
Yeah. And then he put Destiny on here.
Poor Jacob. I feel so bad.
Just because he says that it plays extremely well and it has a strange sort of appeal.
Yeah, he also says his favorite album is St. Vincent, which it's funny that neither of us put like music or books on our list.
Well, all the books I read are books that I would never discuss with you on this podcast.
Ah,
And music, I'm a weirdo with music. Like I don't. We got into some bands like Bears Den. I really got into this year. I'm listening to Hozier along with everybody else right now. But yeah, the music I've been listening to the most lately is like the Transistor soundtrack, like Missy Elliott. That's what I've been listening to lately. Timbaland's been getting
I've been
there.
listening to Nicki Minaj's new album Pink Print on loop lately. It's not very good, but it's still good, just like background, just like fucking around music. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
So that is the past and the future of Boy Howdy right there.
There are so many things. I was gonna say, there's a part of me where I'm like compiling a best of 2014 list. I was just like, listen to our fucking podcast for last year. This is all we talk about.
People do like to hear like a year.
Oh, no. No, I know, but there was a part of me where I'm like, what am I gonna say about Dragon Age Inquisition that I haven't said at
You could have said so much more if you'd let yourself, though, is the funny thing.
This is true. So, yeah, it was a pretty good year, all things said, even though we have to say it, 2014 was a shitty year for gaming. With with all the Gamergate bullshit, like you could not have made a more terrible and alienating year for gaming. But the games themselves were.
It was. I mean, as far as mainstream gaming, it was kind of a really quiet year. It was a rebuilding year, quote unquote. But yeah, no, there's still lots of fun stuff that came out.
Yeah.
And the Clone Wars came out on Netflix. And so if you were upset by games at the time, you could say, I just want to see what Ahsoka Tano's up to.
That's all you need. Well, friends, as always, we are at Boy Howdy Podcast on Twitter. Howdy at boyhowdypodcast.com is a way for you to email us. You can also use the contact form on our website. We are on iTunes. You can tell people how bad we are. And we'll talk to you next week.
Have you ever still looked up any of our reviews on iTunes?
No.
I've never. We've been broadcasting for 3 years now, and
we've looked at some of our reviews in the past. I've not looked in a while, nor shall I, because.
Oh no, I've never even I was just on iTunes last night to spend an iTunes gift certificate. And there was a moment where I was looking at some other podcast reviews, and I was wondering if I typed in "Boy Howdy" what I'd find out, and I was like,
realistically, probably last time we looked.
Yeah.
All right, friends, thank you as always for listening to our Dump Garbage for another year. We will continue in 2015 to explore all the things we are enthusiastic about, which is to say, get ready for a lot more bullshit Lego and video games talk.
Oh my god. Hopefully we can kind of now that Christmas is over, we'll come down from the Lego mountain a little bit.
Yes.
But, yeah, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, all right,
our
friends,
apologies,
we'll talk
everybody.
to you later.
Yeah, take care, guys. Woof!
Alright, my friend, I shall export the thing and send you the thing.
Yeah, you just recorded one big chunk?
Yes, sir.
Super cool. What are you guys up to for the rest of the day?
I have to go to the bathroom so bad. That's number one. Number two, no, I've got to do laundry and fucking domestic shit.
You gotta go to big Rock Candy Mountain. You gotta where everything's made of fudge and.
Oh, I never thought about that as a euphemism for.
There's a couple lines in there where the first time I heard that song, I was like, they talking about going to the bathroom?
Bill, let me put it this way: a Big Rock Candy Mountain, it rains lemonade.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, if you don't go now, your bladder's gonna explode and it is gonna rain lemonade. Okay, we'll shut up and let you do your thing.
All right, Bill. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.